everybody.
Ooh.
I think that is us live.
Hello, everybody.
I don't know how to do this. It's been a month.
We're gonna do stuff. We're doing this stuff tonight. We're back to AGON.
We are.
Oh, we've taken like 4 weeks off, 3 weeks off. We've taken a long time.
3 to 4, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So long that it becomes fuzzy, right? The mists have obscured our concept of time.
Yep.
And we cannot rightly recall how long it has been since we played this game, but we're really looking forward to it. In the interim, we did like a charity event, which went super well. We doubled how much we raised from last year, and we had a bunch of other fun times going on. But super excited to get back into AGON. So, Ethan, thanks a ton for putting this together for us.
Absolutely.
We are using the cool module out of Roll20 that they made over at Paragon Games by Sean Nittner. Sean Nittner put this all together. So like the island is all in there, and Ethan's job is super easy. Like it kind of doesn't even. It could almost be like a GM-less thing now.
Yeah, I basically don't even need to be here. Right? is really what has happened. Is that my job has been automated.
Automated. There it is. There it is. Yeah, the future of GMing, folks, where you show up and say, yes, run this adventure, and I'll be here in case they need bumpers to get them back into their bowling lane.
So they've given you like the Tesla self-driving version of AGON.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Hey,
like you still have to sit in the driver's seat. You still may have to like grab the wheel, but
that's right. That's right.
Yep. You can't just sleep. People did it. It's bad.
Right. Right. It's not a good luck. So you, Ethan, you're not allowed to go to sleep while you run the game.
That is going to be a challenge. Let me tell you.
Okay.
Here we are.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, we believe in you. We need you because you are the GM for tonight. And yeah, other things we're up to. Strife player. That's right. Strife player. Because you manage the strife.
I do.
You play the strife.
I give it.
Strife was a good video game. I don't know if y'all ever played Strife. It was a solid game back in the day. Now, other announcements. Wednesday, Mike Rachelson, you're going to put something together.
There will be something on Wednesday. Yep. What it will be, we're not completely sure. It might be Red Markets, or I might murder everybody in a forest in Trophy Dark.
Ooh. I'm okay with this. Either one.
I mean, the Christmas episode of Trophy Dark was just,
yeah,
that was on par. Yeah, we did great.
Solid dark. And then on, I want to say Friday is going to be everybody watching over on ConSave because Vinton, played by Casey, will be back with that crew again, doing, cool shit in the ConSave Cyberpunk game. And then we'll be back at this.
Things.
Yeah, doing Vinton stuff over there. And then we'll be back at AGON the following Saturday. So this is like, it has been a minute since we've had like a light week for announcements. Yeah. We have some stuff brewing for Gen Con. I can't announce them just yet, but we have some cool stuff brewing for Gen Con, which should be pretty awesome. But I have to wait till some pieces fall into place, Mordenkainen himself has to bless it.
Mordenkainen?
Yeah.
What a jackass.
Yeah.
What a jackass that Mordenkainen.
Yeah. So it'll be good. Once it all comes together, it'll be great. But we need to get all of our ducks in a row before we can talk about what we're going to be doing for Gen Con. So I think with that, Ethan, I'm going to turn it over to you and let's get into the world of AGON because it has been a minute. And I think I remember how to play.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out together how to play the game. It'll be great. Okay, so AGON. We're Greek heroes. Greek inspired. We don't pretend that we're any sort of. We don't pretend to be historically accurate here or anything like that, or even culturally accurate. It's just all the myths. That's the good stuff. We use the names in the vague setting. But yeah, you all are some heroes. You fought a war, and you're trying to get home from that war. But, man, you guys were just a little too good at your jobs. And so the gods are like, we have some more stuff we want you to do. Some more stuff.
What is that? You hate being dependable.
Yeah.
right?
You
It's
made
like,
yourselves indispensable.
yeah,
Well, I won't go that far. The gods would easily dispense with you if they got bored of you. They'd try, but you've made yourselves a little too useful. So now you're just hopping from island to island and experiencing all of the awful things that are happening on those islands. We've been to Nemos, the big snake and the cults and stuff, and
Yep.
Frios with the pirate queen, and Sparos with the mechanical abominations. And
oh yes,
most recently, you all went to Akaros, and a strange island with no sun and shades of the dead that are trapped there and must walk the realm for all time. It sounds a little familiar for some reason, but yes, you all managed to conquer the strife of Akaros, and save for that one pesky shade, that warlord that just made his way somewhere. I'm sure that's fine. That's not going to be a problem down the road or anything. And I believe last time we learned a bit more about our heroes, and also found that boulder-like Hilarion will be our leader for this next island.
yes.
Yeah, that's not going to end well.
This is a fun one for you to be a leader of.
It's gone well. It's gone well. Every time you've been leader, we survived. So I think
Every time a Mike has been a leader, we have survived.
yeah.
Every time anyone has been a leader, we have survived. It's
The
not
only-
clear, but
I'm gonna stop you right there. Okay.
I think only the Mikes have been leaders.
I was leader once,
Oh, okay.
and that was a terrible experience for Xenon.
Oh, no.
Oh, right. That time.
That one time.
That's fair.
That time.
You don't talk about the dark times.
We don't.
The
We
dark
don't.
times.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
dark
yeah.
times. Well, after all that traveling and figuring out who's the leader and stuff, you all have arrived at a new island that bears the name of Chordia. And this island is one that you actually do know. A lot of these islands are just kind of strange ones in the mist, and it's like, oh, what's all this? But you all know as you approach this island that this is an island from legend, and it is the home of the Moirai. If I'm saying that, I'm not saying that, but the Moirai, the three sister goddesses who allot, weave, and cut the strands of fate. They are from here. This is where they live physically. And you are now here. And as the mist recedes, you see the rolling green hills and small villages that sort of dot the landscape of this island. And you can see there's lots of sheep, as you would expect of a place where the, strands of fate are woven. It's made out of wool. Who would have known? Fate. But yeah, and you can see the mortals on the island that kind of go about their days, either, shearing fleece, spinning wool into yarn, maintaining the loom, the great loom of fate, and also sharpening the shears, because, got to know when to cut the cords. But as you all arrive on this island, there are two signs of the gods that are revealed to you. The first clearly comes from Ares, the Lord of War, which you probably find a bit strange considering how peaceful this island is in general. But you see his sign in a splintered shield next to the pier. And the thought that crosses your mind as you see it is that what is broken should be discarded and forgotten. And the second sign that is revealed to you comes from Hephaestus, the crafter of the gods, who you all recently met. And you see his sign in an empty forge, that without the bellows, the coals of this furnace are cold and can do no work. So those are the signs that are revealed to you. But you don't have too much time to really take these things in, because they're, as always when you arrive on these islands, there is something going on. There's some awful thing happening typically. You find that the village that you arrive in first is in a state of disrepair. There are stacks of dirty fleece that lie abandoned on wool washing tables. Half-shorn sheep just kind of wandering around. They've got some very interesting hairstyles, I'll tell you that. And there are a lot of like woodworking projects that just kind of lie abandoned. It seems that like people were doing something, and many people just in the middle of their day decided to just stop what they were doing for some reason. But you can hear the people, and as you kind of make your way through the village, you hear what sounds like a mob, and you can see that all of the people of town, which what you know of them, they're known for their devout service to the Moirai. That's like all they do. They give their entire lives to that. But currently, they're throwing rotten fruit at an elderly man and shouting insults at him. And as you all approach, you see that there is an older woman who looks of very strong stuff, very broad shoulders, very tall, with a shepherd's crook in her hand. She approaches you all. She introduces herself as Euphemia, and I can post that in the chat if you guys need to. For the spelling on that one. Copy, we'll put that into Discord. Okay. Boom. Euphemia. Yeah, she is a herder, and she says, heroes. I see that you've arrived now. What brings you to this island?
The gods. Who else? What's going on here?
Perfect. The gods. Typical, right? People just kind of, they hear that and they just kind of nod and they're like, yeah, okay, makes sense. But she says, we need your help to punish this villain. This man, Kelos, the knife grinder, he is a foul villain and has stolen from the gods, and I would entreat you to punish him. And you look at this man, he's elderly. He has a lot of like muscle that shows that he's done like manual labor for his entire life, like that kind of like very lean, like corded muscle almost. And the way that he's being described and the way that like people are yelling and the things that they are yelling at him, you would think that he had done something awful and that he was this just horrible man all of his life. But you look at him and he just looks kind of pitiful. And very like penitent, like he's not fighting them, he's not sort of resisting the thing, like he's just getting fruit thrown at him and he's just kind of standing with his head down. He's not bound in any way, he just has sort of his hands crossed in front of him and he's just like getting pelted by fruit and having insults thrown at him.
Okay, well, now we're just wasting food, and that is an insult to the gods. So you should stop doing that.
Okay.
In fact, hand me that peach. That looks really good. But while I eat that, what exactly did he do?
So here we come to our rival contest. You can tell that Kelos has a secret, something that he hasn't told, and that there is a reason. He has done something. All Euphemia will say is that he's stolen from the gods. And so kind of the thing that you can either try to convince Kelos to be upfront with you and figure out what he's actually done, or you can try to get the mob to stop pelting him with fruit first. It's kind of up to you and what you're prioritizing here.
Well, we're gonna prioritize. Let's stop the throwing of fruit. I right off the bat. That means, because I need to have a conversation with the man, and I can't have that happen with people throwing food at me. I get distracted.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's a bad idea.
We could, if you need to have a conversation with it, we could like shield wall for you.
We could protect you while you like are under the cover of our shields and have this discussion. So if you are sort of more trying to get the mob to calm down, because you can see that Euphemia is the ringleader here and that she's inciting the crowd to do these things because she's clearly very upset at Kelos, then that will be a contest of resolve and spirit against Euphemia. So let me roll that up. Let's do it. How do we do this again? What do we do?
Chordia will take on this challenge of resolve and spirit.
You tell us the number.
Yeah, I give you a number.
There's math
well,
that happens, and
there's
It does
math.
on the roller though.
Okay, so I think I click this. I click some things. I think is how it works. It's a contest of resolve and spirit. That is true. Against Euphemia, the envious and righteous herder. It is a perilous contest, which perilous means that if you suffer in this contest, then you will you'll have to mark pathos, essentially. But the target number is just 9. It's not a terribly difficult thing, but yeah. So who will take up this challenge? Other than Iron-Minded Makari, we know this. Makari is here.
Hilarion will take up this challenge.
Excellent, excellent.
Phaedros will take up this challenge. Many Wade Phaedros. Many Wade shade touched Phaedros.
Ooh,
Ooh.
got some
I
epithets.
think
Lion.
Xenon will assist Macaria.
Gotcha.
With
Oh.
a...
Shit.
No, you gotta. Well, I mean that's a pretty good
Never
result.
mind.
How
I
about?
will, I will not assist Macaria. I will assist someone who has not rolled yet. I will
Sorry,
assist
I was
Lady
about to hit cancel and I hit submit instead. Sorry.
Phaedros, I'll assist you because I have more bonds with Hilarion than I have with Phaedros.
That's how it's gonna be. Okay.
Yeah, so you get 1 glory for
Yep.
assisting, and you can give a copy of a. It's your domain. So
Of my-
your
Domain
die.
a domain of my choosing.
Yeah,
I will assist him with craft and reason, which is a D10.
gotcha.
Um,
Gotcha.
something along the lines of, you know, whenever islands had secrets, we need to, like, such as the island of Nemos, we needed to make room and investigate and come to the bottom of this.
Ooh. Okay. And Hilarion, test your fate.
Oh my god!
Okay.
Oh God, guys, again.
It used to be me and Hilarion. It's good to see somebody else in the hot seat
Yeah,
against
so-
Hilarion, because it usually doesn't go well.
Doesn't. So Phaedros and Hilarion, you both need to roll your name dice to figure out who is best, because this is a game of competitive cooperation. Okay, we got a 4 from Hilarion and a 2 from Phaedros. So Hilarion is best. Perfect. Okay, so now that we've rolled, the way this game works, you roll the thing and then you say how you did stuff, and it's all great. No one suffered, so no one marks pathos. This all just is going very well so far.
Sweet.
So starting with Macaria, how do you attempt to sort of quell this crowd and
So
make them stop throwing
first,
fruit?
blessed conjurer, Macaria, will just kind of lift her hand a little bit, and this almost transparent sort of sphere will come up against the man, so that he will no longer be pelted with fruits and vegetables, to kind of stop him. And then iron-mindedly, she would beseech the crowd to stop wasting food, to take a moment and listen, so we may figure out the problem and help, as we are heroes, and that is what we do.
Right. Yeah. And you see some of them, like, they look at the pile of like rotten fruit that they were throwing, and they're like, could probably use that for something, I guess. Just like
Feed
maybe
the animals.
maybe
with
something
it,
will eat
maybe-
it. I don't know. They're like okay, I guess it's fine. This is kind of what
could
we
If
have.
we could
fermented it.
ferment that into wine.
Could-
Yeah, right.
We'll just make it. We'll just wine it. Just make it wine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
All right.
That's definitely Xenon's approach of, like, you're wasting all this valuable winemaking material.
Yeah. Perfect. So now Phaedros.
Yeah, I think Phaedros will, like, seeing that has drawn some of their attention and is getting them to stop, will kind of like move to another section where maybe like not as many people like saw or were listening to Macaria. And he has his shield and he has his spear, and he will bang the spear against the shield. But it's the one that has the star metal tip to it, so like it rings out in this very distinctive manner to like draw attention.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's like almost sounds like a chord. has been struck, like on
Yeah.
an instrument. It's just it rings with this very like bright sound.
You get that like little swing noise, and there's like that little like lens flare off it.
Yeah.
Right? Say it's like in the air.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
But
Solid.
it draws attention, and he's able to like hey, stay your hand while we we've been sent here by the gods. We're here. We're for respect our authority. We're here to help deal with this situation. Just stand fast for a moment while we
Yeah, and they like that sound, like you can see it like move through the crowd as it hits, and they kind of turn to look because they've never heard anything like that. Or they seem to recognize it a bit, but like in this context, they're surprised to hear it. Like this is a sound that these heroes should not be able to make. Like perhaps it's a
Right.
sound that they've heard coming from the Great Loom or something along those lines. They're ringing, but yeah, they just heroes that have washed up should not be able to make a sound so wonderful. And then Hilarion, who prevails and is best.
Hilarion is going to see his compatriots assist, and he's going to walk forward and stand in between the mob and these people, and he's just going to set his club down in front of him with a heavy thump. And he's going to look around and he's going to say, "Good people, we are going to get to the bottom of this. But we can't get to the bottom of this with you throwing food at people. Let's act like civilized folk. So we're going to make this very simple. The next person that throws something is going to get thrown. So stop it!"
And it's just the crowd goes quiet. Even Euphemia kind of like, because she's very tall, but you're taller. And she's just kind of her eyebrows raised, and she backs off a bit.
Thank you.
And the crowd kind of calms down. You saw one person in the crowd had picked up a rock just in the heat of the moment, like had been throwing fruit and then like had reached down and grabbed a rock, and they kind of like look at the rock in their hands and look a bit like shaken and drop it to the ground and kind of like try to hide themselves a bit because they're a bit ashamed of that at this point. But you get the idea that if you had not managed to quiet the crowd, that perhaps dear Kelos would not have been long for this world.
Okay.
But as it is, the crowd sort of calms, and this sort of shield, this bubble around Kelos kind of remains as the crowd sort of disperses and moves on. And Euphemia kind of looks you all and she says, Heroes, I apologize for our behavior. I was just very angry. Kelos, he stole a victory that was rightly mine, and I cannot help but be angry by that. I should explain. And at this point, the bubble kind of comes down around Kelos, and he'll approach as well, and he says, I should explain as well. And they kind of both tell you the story at this point. They've kind of calmed down. And they tell the story of a man named Spyridon, or Spyridon, whichever. A man who was bested by Euphemia and, in a contest to the death. And so Spyridon had died in the course of this. And this wasn't considered a murder. This wasn't considered a crime. This was just something that had happened in this contest in which Euphemia had bested him. And Kelos is sort of in an effort to save Spyridon, stole Atropos's shears, the shears that cut the strands of fate, and cast them into the Forgotten Gorge, which is on the other side of this island. And so Spyridon is not able to go to the underworld, is not able to die. His fate continues to be woven because his strand could not be cut. And so that is sort of the problem that you all face on this island.
But also everyone else's.
But many strands cannot be cut because of this deed.
That's right. And speaking of Phaedros, you kind of have this just sort of attunement with shades and with the underworld and with things like that. And you notice, and Macaria, you would notice as well, as Euphemia is telling you the story, you can see these like spectral strands that kind of just trail behind people. And you see that the strands that surround Hilarion and Euphemia are beginning to like twist together and form a knot. As it seems that their fates have now become intertwined, as the threads of fate are not able to be cut, and so they are growing and becoming knotted and tangled. And you can see as the fates of many people on this island have become knotted together and entangled in a way that is not meant to happen.
To find those shears.
This
Yes,
is bad.
immediately.
Well,
Why was this? Why did you choose to take the shears and not in this way and not just stop the beating or the killing? And why was this your method of choice?
Kellos kind of looks a bit like disappointed in himself. Like he looks kind of sad about it. And he's like, I owed Spyridon, and I could not. I was too late to stop him from being killed, but I was not too late to bring him back. So I did what I had to do. I had the shears. As you know, I sharpened the shears. That is my job on this island. I had them. It was the easiest. It was the only thing I could think of. I had them in hand, and I ran.
does that mean that Spyridon still lives in a manner?
Think so.
Is he in agony?
I don't know. I haven't seen him, but there have been a few accidents since I lost the shears. That
I think
normally
like
He didn't lose the shears.
lost is not the
He
correct
threw the
word.
shears.
Okay, like
Let's be honest.
Yes. Death is not. It's not happening on this island anymore.
Okay, so like
I
that
didn't
was Heather.
think
That
that's
like
what
was
would
Heather.
happen.
I bonk him on the head with my staff. Like not
Bonk.
not
You
to
kinda-
hurt him, really, just to bonk him out of irritation.
Yeah. You. you sort of like bonk him on the head, and he's like mid sentence, and he just kind of stops. And Euphemia kind of chuckles. She can't help it. She's a little petty.
I believe you should take us to where you threw away the shears.
Yes. I should. So. You should know that come each morning, everyone who's died returns somewhere on the island, and I think Spyridon is wandering somewhere, probably a bit confused, for a few days now. So.
Return in full,
And
like
as-
with their
as
whole
though
body
nothing had
intact,
happened.
or
As
Oh.
though nothing had happened.
Okay. Xenon.
Oh, that's not good.
Xenon's gonna lean into Phaedros. Phaedros, there has been the leak at the bottom of the vessel that we've not been able to clear because it would be very dangerous to clear it. This may be the moment to repair that seam at the bottom of the boat. We cannot die.
Macaria just covers her face.
There are advantages to this moment. that we might not want to pass up.
Is this about to turn into a montage of you guys doing all the stupid shit that you always wanted to do?
I would caution against that, my friend.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
As you saw the shield from Ares as we came in, he quite clearly believes that anyone who is fallen should stay fallen. I think taking advantage of this situation is liable to not only anger him, but perhaps people who expect the souls of the dead, like say Hades and other people. Let's not anger all of the gods, perhaps.
Or just Macaria. Is what Macaria says. How about we just don't anger me?
Let's definitely not anger her.
I think also you hear Euphemia say, I worried what will happen to these returned folk if the shears are returned. What happens if their strands are cut now?
Well, they'll die like they were supposed to.
How often are people dying on this island?
Not very many, but things happen. You fall down a hill, you know,
Bailey.
a bale of wool.
Do you have a bunch
fall
of people
upon-
being exceptionally stupid because they think they can't die and they're doing dumb things and dying?
Okay, more of that has happened recently, yes, but
Oh, for
That
that.
is
for
Well,
not-
then those stupid people get to die. That's just how it is.
Every morning, dear
Nothing
bards, start
died.
playing "I Got You, Babe."
it's brat talk too.
We have dallied here long enough. Let us go find the shears.
So for transparency's sake, that is one of the options for the battle.
I figured.
And so we're not quite there yet. There are trials to be faced.
Do we need
And
to talk to
so-
the fates? Do they have
So
opinions?
right. So there's a few problems that you've kind of seen now. And you can hear actually on the distance, like on the wind, the sound of bickering coming from this giant temple at the top of this hill. You can hear, 3 Wibbids voices just bickering incessantly. And they seem to be you can hear just bits and pieces. It seems that they're trying to find someone to blame for something, and they're not quite sure whose fault something is. But Phaedros, you can see that the threads of fate that are all running up to this temple, you can kind of see them more clearly now as you're looking for them, are just becoming more and more knotted, and the sort of coming from this temple, just more and more knots, more and more tangles in the weaves of fate, and it keeps getting worse. So that's one problem that may need to be dealt with. Another is Spyridon is somewhere on this island, and he shouldn't just in general shouldn't be, and so maybe that bears sort of bears dealing with.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I'm interested in Spyridon and what exactly Spyridon's relationship to Kelos is and why Kelos risked such a catastrophic event for Spyridon. It
Mhm.
seems like Spyridon would be the person who would explain that to us because
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe yeah. All right. Can I somehow isolate Kelos and try and get this from him?
Yeah, I think that would probably be a contest of some sort for you guys to convince him to give up the secret. And so that would be like arts and oration.
Okay.
Against Kelos himself. That was kind of the other option for the arrival contest, but I think that's if you
Oh.
want that information, then that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if that had passed because if I
Yeah, no, I mean he's
could-
still here. He's alive, right? He's fine.
Mhm.
okay. Okay.
I'll assist
Cool.
with Resolve and Spirit.
So let me roll this up. A contest of arts and oration against honor-bound Kelos, the knife grinder.
11. Okay.
So it's not perilous, it's not epic, it's not anything like that. It's just
So, okay, yeah. Shadow-wise and far-sighted Xenon will take up this
Mhm.
challenge.
excellent, excellent. Who else would like to
I'll
speak to
assist
Kelos?
Xenon. Resolve
Okay.
and Spirit at a D10.
Ooh.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'll see on with arts and oration. So D8.
Hot damn, guys.
Perfect. And what does Hilarion want to do?
I guess Hilarion will help with an arts and oration with a D8.
Okay, cool. So
It's all on you.
It's all on you. Roll well.
But you've got all the dice.
You got
All
all
right.
the
So
dice.
what is it? How many was it? 2d8s, 3d8s, and a d. Was it 2d8s and a d10 or 3d8s?
I have a D10.
Okay.
I give you a
2
D10.
D8s and a D10.
God damn, guys.
It's all on you, sir.
All right. Spend a. No, I'm not gonna spend a divine favor.
It's
Feels
just an
weird.
11. It's just a little 11.
Woo!
Okay, prevails with an 18.
There it is.
Excellent.
There it is.
If you hadn't prevailed, there were some fun things. A lot of the contests on this island have fun things that happen if you don't succeed.
I'll bet. I'll
Just
bet.
fun stuff. Yeah. So. Yeah.
All right. So I get Kelos aside somehow. You know, perhaps the crowd is now deeply entrenched in this hot debate of, well, now do we go and repair all the things that need repairing that are very dangerous? Should we go and build the things that need building that have been very dangerous to undertake? You know, Xenon may have planted the seed for this raucous debate, and other people are like, well, let's go have that fight to the death that we've always wanted to have but never actually wanted to kill each other, right? So there's all of those things are happening, and Moirai and Hilarion and Phaedros are
busy trying to keep all those things from happening,
assisting me by keeping all these people alive by sheer force of will.
God damn it.
And Xenon gets Kellos to the side.
Okay.
And Xenon, through arts and oration and through craft and reason, has a discussion with Kellos about his job and about his craft of sharpening the shears of fate and what that must entail, to touch godly weapons, or not weapons, godly tools. Yeah, implements. Yeah. And at some point along the way, Xenon will say that this island reminds me of an island I had visited in the past, the island of Nemos, which possessed many secrets. And I was regaled as the finder of secrets on the island of Nemos. So I must level with you. I will find the secrets of this island, and you reek of secrets, if I may say so.
Yeah.
Hard work, yes, I can tell that you work hard, but also you carry a burden, and I'd much rather, for all of our sakes, yours especially, that I hear it from you as opposed to from the island itself. And if I could I?
Is that unchecking a box?
Can I uncheck a box?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you can. Sure.
Thank you, buddy.
That works. This is like an unnecessary contest, right? Like it's not like essential to the completion of the island, and you have done arts and oration and included that thing. So I think that ticks all the boxes for me for you to untick that box.
All right, cool. Yeah, I did take a pathos to include 2 things, and then obviously got a lot of love from everybody else. So that's awesome.
Yep. It's very good. Very good. So Kelos kind of like hangs his head a bit, and he says, "There are a lot of reasons why I did what I did, but first and foremost, I don't know what will happen if Spyridon stays dead. He is the only shepherd on this island gifted enough to craft wool to be used on the Loom of Fate. All of this other wool, it's just not of the same quality. And I'm not sure what will happen."
Oh my god.
Euphemia thinks she's close, but she's not. It's completely different.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
I hate this island.
It's good. It's a good one.
I hate it.
Oh no.
Phaedros, as you're
Xenon is stoic, stone face. Like, is this a matter of skill, something that she will learn given enough time, or just talent. She just simply lacks the gift.
Phaedrus, I will just interject. Phaedrus, you notice that as Kelos and Xenon are talking, that the threads of fate around them begin to become entangled as well.
Yeah.
And the longer they speak, the
Thanks,
more
I hate
knots
it.
form and the
That's-
tighter it gets.
Don't worry, guys. I'm about to bring this knot over to you.
Oh.
But
I'm gonna explain
Kellos-
things.
No, thank you, please.
Kelos will look at you and say, I think it to be a divine gift. There's no other explanation. His sheep are the healthiest. Their wool is the most lustrous, and there is no second on this island. Euphemia thinks it so, but there's no second to Spyridon's wool, and I know not what will happen to the Weave of Fate if it contains anyone else's wool.
I understand. And as I've seen shepherds on other islands, do the herds ever commingle, or are they separated?
Everyone here is very guarded about their flock because they all work very hard. All of the shepherds and herds, they work very hard to try to craft or raise the best wool possible for this. Our wool weaves fate, and what is that? That is, there's no higher calling than that.
It's true. What you do here matters to the world, to all of us, and that must be respected. And the quality of that flock is not to be understated. This is important news. Is there anything else that you can tell me that would matter in this time on this island? I feel like what you have shared with me is critical knowledge that will shape the future of things.
Okay. I will say this, and I don't know for certain. I don't think it was a fair fight. I don't think Spyridon deserved to die.
What makes you say that?
Euphemia is jealous. She's always been envious. I think that she. I think she might have pushed him into the gorge.
That's how he died. Was in a gorge.
He fell. Yes. They were having a foot race to prove who was best, because whoever can. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me that it would be a foot race. They were fighting over quality of wool. Why would they fight to the death?
Yes. Who falls during a simple race?
I mean, when you're running across a gorge, several people have fallen, but that's not the point. It was suspicious.
All right. Do you know where it is that he fell?
Into the gorge. There was a bridge, a natural bridge.
From that bridge he fell.
Yes, but it is wide enough. There's no reason.
Okay.
There was no reason for it. They weren't even halfway through the race. It's not as though that would have made or broken. It doesn't make sense to me.
Okay. Well, this is very, very helpful of you. I must ponder this and consider all the angles. But you've shown light to things that are needed to be known.
I take my work very serious. I would not have discarded the shears like this had it not been important.
Yep. Okay. Then and just so I know, where did you discard those shears?
I tossed them into the gorge. I do not know where they fell. It is
naturally.
It's treacherous. I lost sight of them.
Okay. Well, treacherous is something that we can handle. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave him alive and go back to the group.
Yeah. As you kind of try to just leave him to go on his own way, he says, "Oh, wait, I'll come with you. It's only right." And you find yourself inclined to agree for some reason. You feel almost like a tug.
Is this a tug from Xenon has been guided by many hands?
Mm.
Is this a familiar tug from the the impetus of a divine intervention, or is this the fates?
It feels more like the latter. This feels different. It feels like almost like a physical tug, but
Yeah.
like your soul, not your body. Like it's strange. It's
Yeah.
a strange sensation. But
Okay.
you know it's not good.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, then I'll pause and say, Kelos, you and I will break bread again. We will meet and we have meal. But for now, I need to walk with this, and it is best if I walk alone. I mean no disrespect, but I will have to rejoin you soon.
Okay. It's fine. Yeah. Just kind of looks a bit dejected. And he just goes off, not very far, but
Sure.
goes off to do something else.
Great. I'm going to take a look at the crew and say, and I'm going to walk towards like maybe up this hill where there's the bickering people. Just
Yeah.
and I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to start heading to the next thing.
I want to avoid any of these damn strands as much as possible.
You're in it. You've engaged.
I'm not yet.
You've engaged with the thing.
So just to review a bit, we've got Hilarion, who is entwined with Euphemia, and Xenon, whose fate is now entwined with Kellos.
Oh, great. That's
Why
not
am
gonna...
I entwined with Euphemia?
You were the best at the contest with her, and that's just one of the consequences of like engaging on that level.
Oh, okay.
Just for the island, it just happens. You don't
Can't
you don't
wait
really
for
get
that
a say
trial later.
just
Cannot
happens.
wait. I hate it here.
No, so far everything's fine. We're good.
This island is great.
Hilarion has no problems with this island thus.
Oh,
So
God.
good, it's working great. Yeah. So what would you all like to do?
Leave.
Well, he went that way, so I guess we follow him. They're like,
You have you just get yourself like the nicest coat you've ever had, made with the best wool, and you're like, I'll be on the boat.
Yo, I'm on the.
Deuces.
I'm gonna chill on the. I'm good out here. Actually, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm good on the boat. Good on the boat.
For Hilarion to say like, well, we follow him, of course, like, do it and kind of come up behind him and like hand on the shoulders, like, he's the one in charge. Like,
let's go. All right, let's go. I got no problem here. Hilarion's fine.
Mhm.
This is all. So far, he hasn't seen anything that can't easily be solved.
It's because you can't see what Phaedrus and I see.
Pretty great. This is great. This is great.
Makari just looks at Phaedrus like, are you seeing this shit?
and Phaedrus just does that thing where like his eyes are black and kind of too big for what they're supposed to be. He's like looks back, he's like, oh no.
Agents of change.
Oh no. Yeah. So you all are walking towards up this hill. There's a path that leads up to this temple, and it's one of those things where you think you know how big it is, and then you realize that no, it's just very, very far away.
Oh God. Okay. Before we get there, I don't want to
yeah.
get all the way there.
Yeah.
Since we're gonna
You're on the
walking
way.
together.
Right.
Okay. Xenon is gonna take a minute to look behind us, and he's gonna do it subtly, but he wants to see if we're being followed by either of these two yahoos.
Mm-hmm. You see that like they're not like very close. They're like a ways away. But you see Euphemia and Kelos like bickering and like also heading toward the temple, but they're a ways back. And it doesn't really seem like they even notice that you all are also doing this.
Okay. Then Xenon will let slip. Not let slip, but he'll just kind of quietly to the group say, we have our two people at odds are behind us, and we'll arrive at the temple a few minutes after we do.
You two are casting a wide net that we're dragging behind us.
Do you want me to make him go away?
I'm just
They'll only go away until tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
There,
I've learned some
the-
things. This island is very complicated. I can share them with you.
That's one way of describing it.
s-
I
I
mean, it
could-
all seems straightforward to me.
Yes. So
I'm still not sure if we should be going towards the Temple of Knots or away from it, but you know.
this island is going to curse us all if we don't resolve this quickly. So here's what I've learned, the important bits. Spyridon, who died, all of the strands of fate come from his wool. All of the other shepherds on this island do not hold a candle to his wool. So his death is meaningful in that, from Kelos' perspective, no one else's wool is good enough to be what makes the fates that we all survive and die on. That is why he stopped his death, was so that the weaving could continue.
but
And
I have a question.
but
I have a question.
yes,
Now, I'm not a professional shepherd, but I'm pretty sure that the wool comes from the sheep. And if Spyridon's dead, his sheep are still there.
it's true.
So you're still getting the same wool from his same sheep.
So I asked a little bit about that. Do the shepherds mingle the flocks? And he said no, they keep them separate, which tells me that the shepherds go to different areas. So if she or anybody gets his sheep, maybe the next shearing or two would be good. But maybe the sheep don't go to the same watering holes. Maybe they don't eat the same stuff they're supposed to eat. Or maybe the blessing passes and no one else receives whatever blessing it is that he and his flock had. Who knows? Who knows? Spyridon knows.
Okay, so it's simple. We'll go find Spyridon because we need to find him anyway. And then we'll ask him what he needs to know. He'll tell us, and then we'll throw him off the gorge. Then we'll go get the shears,
wait.
and we'll take them up, and then they'll cut the thing, and the problem's solved.
I like your use of others to do the work that is needed to be done. I support this plan.
So okay, but surely if this man was to die, the fates knew about it and had already those things had already been woven into
What are the
into
fates?
the
What are the
weave.
fates? Do the fates enforce murder?
I mean, if it's someone's fate to be murdered,
Does the fate direct every killing?
I don't know.
Getting very existential.
Perhaps we should just go talk to the fates. Unfortunate as that sounds.
Our window to do that without an audience is closing. So
Let's go.
It's not closing by that much. Hilarion looks around for a boulder.
Hilarion, no.
He grabs one and throws it down the hill towards them.
The boulder? A boulder? How big of a rock are you talking?
Doesn't matter.
Nice
It
rock.
doesn't matter in this game. He doesn't. Yeah, they dive out of the way. I mean, they are not killed by this boulder, but they dive and they look and they just notice you guys for like the first time. And kind
He
of
just shears them away.
they kind of
Go away.
like they like throw up their hands and they yell some stuff as you
He takes a step towards them, like, "Do you want me to come down and have a conversation?"
they do one of these and they keep arguing. They stop moving. They find a tree nearby and they continue arguing and they stop walking for now. But
Hilarion looks at his three compatriots and says, "And that's how you solve a problem."
no, they continue bickering. And so now you got it on both sides. Whatever they're arguing about, it's pretty great. But yeah, you all continue and make your way, and you've bought yourselves now plenty of time to speak with the fates uninterrupted. But they will be showing up to the temple at some point. But yeah, as you get to this temple, it is enormous. It is made for beings that are much larger than all of you. Maybe not quite so much larger than Hilarion, but still larger than Hilarion. And as you walk through, you see that all of the walls of this temple are just lined with tapestries. And the tapestries depict a lot of different things. Some like shipwrecks, others like things that you know of from legends. And then you start to notice that some of them depict things that happened to you all during the war, and things that have happened to you since visiting islands. And you see one depicts a scene of a prince laying dead on like sort of a plinth with Xenon sort of looking over the body, and like you can see like this bright green of poison. And you see this giant drill making its way down into the underworld, and like this large cavern depicted. You see a lot of your recent exploits, defeats, and victories all line the halls of this temple, as well as many that you don't recognize. They're not all ones that you recognize, but then as you sort of reach, there's like a big curtain that kind of separates the two halves, and you can see there are three large shadows sort of behind it, and that sort of lit from the other side of this curtain, and an immense loom. And you can hear like it rapidly being worked. Like there's one of the shadows sits at the loom and is like moving things, and then another is sort of feeding yarn into the loom to be worked, and then one of them is just standing with arms crossed and like kind of gesturing a lot, and they're all arguing over something. Just I must have I set them somewhere. I don't know. I thought I sent them to get sharpened, and then they haven't returned to me. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's fine. It's fine, Lexus. It's okay. And then the other is sort of like, okay, but I'm starting to notice some knots here, and I really don't want to stop this, because if I don't know what happens if we stop weaving. Honestly, it's been eons and we haven't. So what even happens then?
Excuse me, ladies.
What? And you see as like a very large hand.
Xenon is visibly upset as he was learning so much in that conversation.
And you get the feeling that like they're kind of just bullshitting. Like this is just a thing they do to keep from getting bored. That they're not actually, there's no like actual worry in any of their voices. They're just doing what they do. But you see a large hand kind of reach around the curtain and pull it to the side, and you see this a very large woman in a cloak, and you can see that one of her eyes is covered. And then as the curtain is pulled to the side and you see all three of the fates, you see that each of them has one of their eyes covered. But they are all sort of working. And Clotho, you all would probably know the identities of the fates, right? You have Lexus, Clotho, and Atropos. But Clotho is sitting at the loom, continuing to weave, and you can see this tapestry being made. That it's more and more knots are starting to form in it. And while like Clotho is paying attention, you can tell that she doesn't quite notice that it's getting worse, as this knot of fate is just growing and growing and growing. They all stop, and Atropos, who is like the least busy, right? No shears. It's like, can we help you?
Can we
Actually,
help you?
Hilarion, speak.
Hilarion would say, actually, though we are newly arrived on this island, it seems like perhaps we are here to help you. First, with a bit of information. Again, we are newly arrived, so we don't know the full history of all that's going on here. But it would seem that there was a foot race between Euphemia, whatever her name is.
Euphemia.
I don't, yeah. And Spyridon. There may have been some murder. Spyridon is certainly been tossed off a gorge. There's an idiot in town who was supposed to sharpen your shears, who
Kelos.
decided that in order to save his friend, he would throw those shears down a gorge.
And you see Atropos kind of turn to the other two and said, "I told you it wasn't my fault." And they're like, okay, whatever. And like Clotho's like busy, and then Lexus is like, it's fine. And it's just and they just continue weaving. And Atropos says, "Well, that's all very good to know. Did you notice any of that as you were?" She's like, she like kind of shrugs and keeps weaving. Like, I don't know. I don't pay attention. I just weave it. I just weave. I don't question things.
Many knots are appearing in the threads.
Knots. And you see Clotho say, knots. No, those are intentional. It's all part of the design. She continues to weave.
But if the thread cannot be cut and it just gathers, doesn't that cause a problem?
Yeah, I'm very important to this process, and I don't think they're really recognizing that. Look at Lexus just going on as if nothing's occurring. I've noticed what you said. I've noticed the nuts. I noticed, but those two, they won't listen to me. But that's not my job, right? I just cut the threads. I don't, I no creative input whatsoever.
This seems like a very interesting dynamic that we have come upon here. How do we help get your shears back and unknot the knots? Because they seem to be getting a lot worse. People are not dying, which is problematic.
Yeah. Yeah, you see Atropos kind of like her eyes go wide and she says, "That is that's a problem." And so two of you notice two different things. Makaria, you notice that the problem is that there is far too much wool being fed into this loom. And like there's no one there to trim it before it goes. So it's just there's too much and it's getting tangled and things like that. And so you intuit that to get this to stop, you'd have to convince Lexus to stop allotting fate.
Okay.
And to pause that process until things can be fixed and the shears can be returned. Xenon, because I think you would be the one to most likely have your eyes out for this sort of thing. You notice that what is currently being woven, or what has recently been woven, are your all's exploits on Akaros. And you see one particular few threads being woven of a certain shade that escaped.
Oh, shit.
And you think that if you could get a hold of get a hold of the bobbin, right? And you can see that the bobbin is made of star metal now. Which kind of explains the sort of recognition that the townsfolk had. Do you think that if you could get that and maybe just a few subtle changes, that maybe that could be rewritten?
So golly, to be able to turn back time on something like that.
Back time.
So there's two like trials at play here. One is an arts and oration against Lexus to convince her to quit it, basically, for just a minute.
Yes.
To just hold on. And the other is a craft and reason versus Clotho, in order to maybe right a few wrongs.
Before we make that roll, though, can I ask just a few questions, to try and determine just a couple of things from the information we've been given? It would be like, is the wool that you use come special from only the specialist of sheep? Or
Well, I would hope so. It's divine wool.
So why are there so many sheep on the island if only one person can give you that wool?
The mortals like to try. They try, and every now and again one's very good, and their wool is exceptional, and that is our new wool. But we've been using Spyridon's wool for many years now.
But if Spyridon's dead, and then what are you going to do then?
Is Spyridon dead?
Yeah,
That's sort of what started this problem.
how much wool do they have like on hand? Can we see
There is like an enormous like
Okay.
you look behind them and there's like lights and then you can see that like this temple, the dimensions don't quite make sense now that you're on the inside, but it seems to go on for ages with just stacks and stacks of wool. But you can see that they are using it very, very quickly.
Got it.
So
Like,
if
these
Spyridon
towers of wool are
were
being consumed in minutes.
if Spyridon were to die, wouldn't you just the fates just spin a new person to get that wool?
I mean, maybe you seem to think we have a lot of agency over this process, but
I would hope you do. But I
mean,
guess not.
it really depends on how much we're watching. We do tend to turn a blind eye, and you can see as she says that she like turns, and the side where her eyes covered is now facing you. She's like looking back and says, "We have wool for some time, but it would take time to find another."
Okay. That's all that answers the questions that I had. Let's do this contest.
Okay, so who's going first?
I guess I will. I mean, with
Yeah.
how do
So
you
we'll
say her
start
name?
with the contest of arts and oration against Lexus. So if you all could try to
Lexus.
convince her to stop. I will say this contest will happen concurrently with the other one. So
You have to pick.
Yeah. So Xenon, if you would like to try this, you will not
Yes.
be able to help.
Yes, I would. Because I mean, I would like to know the number first, but I think maybe that's a little unfair. So Xenon would like to be in position to attempt this,
All right.
rewriting the wrongs.
Okay.
Put
so
that shade back in its bottle.
Who will take up this contest of arts and oration against Lexus, the allotter?
Macario will.
The impatient allotter of fate. Macaria, okay.
Phaedros will.
Come on,
Don't leave
Hilarion,
David
join me.
alone to do this shit.
Come on, Hilarion, join me, because who was it that failed in the last defense?
Oh.
Um,
He's redoing your fate, sir.
no, Hilarion won that one. It was the mini-wave Phaedros that failed and let that get by.
Oh, fuck.
And secondly, thank you very much, the both of you. Hilarion doesn't know either of these things. He's not paying attention to the room. Has no damn clue.
Oh, Xenon would tell. Xenon would spill the beans on this one. He'd be like, "Look, the shade that got away, right there.
Oh,
Just a little nudge."
a little. What? No, we shouldn't fuck with fate. And then he's gonna turn back.
The fates aren't the gods. Xenon's
They
gonna
are.
go.
They're kind of the
Kind of are, yeah.
kind of a major one.
We're not gonna. No, Hilarion is not going to mess with what has happened or try to. Besides, that thing's going back and forth real quick. I'm really good at like hitting
It's
things,
sharp too.
but
It's
like
very, very sharp.
yeah, I'm not gonna. No, I'm not gonna go in there and like stick my hand in there. What do you think this is? An old Wanted? No, that's bad. No.
What do you think is wanted?
Was that bad movie with Angelina Jolie where the
Hey,
guy
that was
just-
not a bad movie.
Wouldn't call it a good movie either, but
Yeah.
It was a great bad movie. It was a
Yeah,
great bad movie.
Yeah, it was a silly movie. We could agree that it was a very silly movie.
Yeah. So no, no, Hilarion's not going to do that, but he has no problem, I guess.
Do you want to assist or do you want to? It's arts and oration.
Okay, so who's doing what?
I'm
This is a
talking
mythic contest,
to
by the way.
the fate.
This is a mythic contest.
You're dealing with the fates, which is by definition are mythic. Yes.
Which means you have to spend one to get into it, right?
You have to spend one to even try.
Okay. Great.
yeah, Phaedros is doing that one too.
Okay. Well, let's just roll up this arts and oration, just see what happens. Oh, just a 14.
Oh my god, even
Just so you guys know, the fates in general just roll 2d12 as their name die. And each one has a d8 for their particular personality.
that's big.
So I only get to keep one die, so like the most I could roll is like a 17.
Oh, that's big.
Hilarion will assist Makira.
Thanks.
Okay.
With what?
An arts and oration, it's a D8.
All right, test your fate, everyone. And then once we've done that, I will give dear Xenon the difficulty of his contest that he must face alone,
Or choose not to do.
or choose not to do. That's right. Well, okay.
My,
I don't know. I'm gonna make you commit before I roll the number.
damn, boy.
Yeah. No.
All right. All right.
We're in mean territory now.
All right. I'm in then. All right. Fair enough.
All right.
Okay. Let's figure
If you
these guys
succeed,
out.
there's a pretty good reward on this one.
Ooh.
And then after we finish these two contests, I think we'll take a break.
Hot dang, Phaedros.
Nice, Phaedros.
Oh, that means like we'll get a breather on this island. Because when fate stops, time doesn't stop, right?
No.
No.
Just we're all up to our own shit.
It's a D8 on.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't suffer any additional effects from that. Yeah. So Makaria, what sort of tact do you take, and how do you suffer? How does it just not quite work? You're arguing with the fates, so already starting off really well.
Makaria. What did she? Makaria just does try to talk reasonably with them, but they seem flippant and distracted.
Yeah, especially, and especially because you're trying to convince Lexus, really, and she's very busy. She's keeping an eye on the supplies of wool, and she's continually allotting wool into this loom. I don't know how looms work, but she's doing, apparently. And yeah, very distracted, and often not looking at you even. Like the side of her face that is covered, she frequently turns towards you, basically.
And just seeing like everything kind of not working right, and more knots coming as part of the weave. I think it frustrates her that she is not getting across, and so she is really just unable to say, like, to get anyone to really pay attention to what she's saying.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where like you're talking and you're very passionate about what you're saying, but then you notice that you're not being listened to, and so you just kind of stop.
Story of my life.
Well, here we go. Yeah.
Well beings. Do I take a
Too close to the bone. Let's.
So you have to mark a divine favor to participate in the contest. You don't mark another one for suffering.
Okay. Cool.
Phaedros.
Yes. So Phaedros, being many-wayed and shade-touched, knows that like there's got to be a way to get her attention here for this conversation, and that once you have her attention, that if you're able to like say have some of these shades of people who like shouldn't be dead and yesterday weren't dead and tomorrow won't be dead again, but like the threads that are connected to them are kind of like tattered and like blowing in the breeze behind them. Like it's maybe possible to like get her attention and be like, no, hold on, you need to like take a break long enough so that like all this can be kind of dealt with. He also, as part of that, was having the cunning of Hera to help guide him in terms of like, hey, over here, pay attention, look at us for a minute, because the right way to like compliment her to get her attention like back from like the loom for a second to have that whole conversation go on.
Yeah, I think what gets her attention most is the compliments, probably, because they don't see many. They don't get many people here that actually like talk to her or whatever. So she's just kind of like, oh yeah, I really did like that one. And like you kind of draw her attention to some of the other tapestries and get her like talking about things that they've woven together. And I think that gets her. She's like, Okay, fine. I guess I can show you around a little bit or something. And she'll like stop. She'll like put down, her like handful of wool or whatever, and it gives, and like there's still enough like on the loom that like Clotho's continuing to weave for the moment. But yeah, the allotment stops, and you kind of feel, everybody feels a bit strange when that happens. Like fate is still being woven, but there's something weird happening here that it feels a bit. It feels almost a bit like seasick for a moment, but then you
The
kind of-
train is still running, but like for some reason we're going off the tracks. That's
yeah. And so Phaedrus, you were best, so you will gain a bond with Atropos as she kind of looks to you in thanks as you have bought her some time to find her shears and hopefully fix this eventually.
That's
But yeah,
awesome.
and so that is and yeah, so after some time, actually, like Atropos and Lexus will go to Clotho and say, "You can take a break," and because she's like, she doesn't say very much. Clotho seems very like intent, and she's not always looking at what she's weaving, but sometimes she'll like look and then like pull on a thread or something to fix it, and then keep going. So you get the idea that like Clotho being the weaver, like her process is not one that like she doesn't talk about that with her sisters. Like the decisions she makes and the things she does in her weaving is like something that is by nature inscrutable. But eventually she will stop, and the loom of fate stops moving for probably the first time in a long time. And as they're distracted, Xenon, you see your opportunity.
Excellent. Excellent.
So let me just click
let
some
us-
boxes.
go
here.
interfere in the works of like divine beings. That's
Let's
good
just
plan.
let's
That's-
just
A 10. They're well
let's
distracted.
just fix this error. All right, crafter and easing, you said, to understand how to.
It is mythic as well.
Write this wrong.
It's still
Okay, so I've
fates.
got to spend a thing to play.
Pay to play.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend a divine favor from Daring Hermes because I feel like
Yeah,
getting in here
I'd say so. I would say so. Yeah.
is not.
I had a bond
necessarily-
with Hermes, and I was like, I am in the wrong contest.
Yeah, Shadow Wise and Farsighted Xenon will take care of this.
Yeah. So everybody's marking their glory, right, for these contests. If you're best, you get the full target number. If you prevail, you get half, and if you suffer or help out, you get one. And Mike, did you mark down Phaedrus's bond with Atropos? That's a D12 for being best. Yeah. So.
Can I use bonds with
yeah.
with group members here?
I don't think so, because you're kind of on your own on this one. I think it's
fine.
part of the challenge of this is you being on your own.
That's fine. That's fine. I will spend my.
But you can use
bond-
bonds with like gods or whatever.
Yes, I will spend my bond with Artemis. Precision
Yeah.
to make this happen. All right, and that's a D12.
Yeah, gods are a D12.
Sweet. I feel like I'll need it.
I mean, the target number's only a 10, so.
Yeah, but dude, like it's mythic, and like I feel like if I get caught on this one, it's gonna be bad.
I've made up my own punishment. That's
Good.
a little bit worse than what that happens on later, because I think punishment's gotta fit the crime, but you do it.
So yes.
Yeah, explain that to me.
Okay, so I don't fully grasp what all Xenon can do in this situation, other than like muck with.
So
the-
what you see in front of you is this giant weave, and you can see at the very bottom that has just recently been woven is you see a small boat leaving a dark island with this sort of bloody looking shade on it. And it's just a few rows up, and so you with all the tools of the weave at your disposal, you're able to like unravel that a bit. So what history do you weave instead?
Gotcha. So Xenon, while all of this is going on, the bickering and the discussions and the grandeur of it, Xenon gets in there with tools, and he's running along the threads because I feel like the threads are big or something like that. And he's dodging out of the way. He had to use some blood and valor, so he like gets cut on his way in to this moment to where this boat is. And he loosens the threads enough to fit in that there was a like an unseen craggy rock that ensnared his ship, and the ship is stuck atop that rock.
Okay. Yeah. So it was not able to escape the island and is now a shade trapped on this rock at sea.
Yep.
All right, excellent. The rest of you suddenly feel quite ill. As like something strange, and like all of the fates are kind of like looking at you, and their heads kind of tilt a bit, but they kind of mortals, whatever, maybe ate something wrong. And all of you feel a bit ill for a moment, but then don't and can't really remember why you did.
Oh.
As fate has been rewritten, and that is now what happened.
Oh.
It's just, we jumped a timeline.
We
I think old
slidings.
Xenon might like this feeling.
Yeah,
probably shouldn't be allowed back in this room.
That sounds like something Xenon would enjoy.
We don't have a time machine. We have a paradox engine.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah. So I will say, if you had messed that up, you would have had to mark 3 boxes of fate.
Fudge.
Which is similar to something that can happen later anyway if you mess up. But
thanks, Ethan.
Sweet.
So
yeah,
you piss off the fates. It's specifically the one that is in charge of weaving your fate. I think that's.
And I know I didn't suffer anything like that, but I think it'd be interesting if like Xenon was in there changing the thing, the whatever that shuttlecock is, or whatever that's the bobbin that runs back and forth. Like if that like grazed him, and there's like a tiny bit of Xenon's blood on that spot.
Yep.
Just bits of it because of his blood and valor usage there.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. So, I think that's a good time to take a break and just grapple with the consequences of our actions, or the lack thereof, when you can just rewrite them. Right?
I'm about to say, like,
No, that
Nobody dies here, and we can change the past. So
nobody dies. You can change the past, and currently, fate is not being woven at all. So, who even knows what will happen?
Wasn't one of the signs of the gods something about if it's broke, leave it broke?
Yeah, it was Aries. That's why.
What is broken should be discarded and forgotten.
Okay.
So we should get a break.
We should
we
take
should
a
go to
break.
All right.
Oh, Frank.
I can
All right,
make
folks.
that. I have the power to make that happen. We can take a break.
You can weave our fate right now if you want to. Folks, we're going to take a 10-minute break. We'll be back 40 minutes past the hour. Ish.
Yeah. Ish. We'll see.
See y'all soon.
Bye. Welcome back. Here we are. David, you have a mouthful of stuff, but I'm gonna wait on you to say things.
Welcome back. Here we are, Legend Keeper.
Legend Keeper. David, are you eating peanut butter? Like, what is this is the long? This is the longest.
I think this is the greatest plan ever. We should do this every time. Just wait till
you could have told me.
No.
You could have told me you weren't ready to go back.
I thought, oh, surely I'll be done with this by then. He started the countdown. I got all the time in the world. I needed double the time.
You needed so much time.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
hey, we're back. We're doing we're at HSG. We're gonna be playing some AGON tonight.
Again, still.
Gonna continue to do that. Yes.
As a player, the GM tells me I'm allowed to do things, and I want to go and do those things. Right. I want to make shit better than it was. Right. And then I go downstairs and I tell my wife what my character did about rewriting the fates. And her eyes go wide, and she goes, "You're a fucking idiot."
Sounds like Kelly.
Yeah.
Like that was
Sounds
just
like what
in the
Kelly
list
said.
of. I like how that was just in the list of trials. It's not even like a particularly long description. It's just like, if you want, it's there. It's there
Yeah.
If you want.
Yeah. So
It's
good.
fun. It's fun
So
stuff.
good.
And we did it.
So
Fun
me
stuff.
as a player, I'm learning. I'm still learning.
Life is a learning experience.
Oh my god.
Just in general.
It's good. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'd be fine. So what are you guys doing?
It doesn't matter. You can't die here anyway, right? You're just waiting for
Not
the-
currently, not while those shears are gone. And the other thing is Xenon, just by way of like of being shadow wise, Xenon understands he's taking this on his own. This was not like a group decision to do this thing. This is Xenon's crime.
Right, that we
That's a
can't
good-
be associated with at all, ever.
No,
Yeah, you guys totally don't have to like ride on the same boat or anything. It's fine.
no, it'll be fine.
So.
There's not a big knot between us at all.
Which crime did we want to suffer for? The crime of letting loose a mass murderer, or the crime of stopping a mass murder? Which one? You tell me.
knows?
Are you about to tell me you'd rather the mass murder?
I'm just not talking to you right now.
It's not so much she doesn't want to stop the mass murderer. It's the stopping the mass murderer by like rewriting time and space that you don't understand. Like
Mike's got it. Mike's figured it
Yes.
out.
But it stopped.
You know,
if I just go back in
Hilarion-
time and kill baby Hitler, what possible repercussions could there be? Right? Like
But
There'd
the
be some good
butterfly-
ones. There'd be some
butterfly.
undeniably good ones.
We're getting dangerously close to a film with Ashton Kutcher,
That's right.
and I don't know that I'm
Uh.
comfortable with that energy.
well, I don't know. I mean, if it's dude, where's my car? I always thought that was pretty
You
good.
know,
but
there's only I haven't seen that many movies, but I have seen that one, and
Where is the
Did not
car?
like-
Where did it go?
not that one. Butterfly Effect. That's
Butterfly
what I
effect.
meant.
That one's wild. That one's very interesting.
And then, Hilarion is just tired of all of this. He's wandered over and tried to find if he could see anything in the tapestry that will tell him how his family's doing.
How what?
How his family is doing.
Oh, okay.
Because he's got these two over here that are trying to figure out how to stop fate from happening temporarily, and then Xenon's over here just like, we're just gonna start changing crap. I don't know, and this is not how Hilarion operates. He's got his own thing. He's gonna go over there, and he's just, if he's not looking, it's sort of that thing where you got the rogue and a paladin, and you
Mhm.
need something to happen, and it's like the paladin's just, I'm gonna go over here and look at this, and then
Yeah.
what the rogue's gonna do.
Yeah. Okay. I think. I almost want this to be a contest for you to find something, because it seems like it would require a good bit of craft and reason to like, because there are so many of these tapestries, and like you go up to the wall and you see that it's just not one layer of tapestries. That like you can pull them back, and there's another behind it, and there's another behind that, and they're enormous, heavy tapestries.
I could tell you
You can
that
maybe even see Blood and Valor just to move them and find. But
I think he's just passively looking because if it's that thing where you want to find out, but you also know there could be bad news there.
mm-hmm.
That maybe you don't want to find out, So he's looking, but he's not like going through stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't think he would want to do a contest because he wouldn't want to take
Gotcha.
the risk.
Yeah. I think in that case, I think in Hilarion's mind, he finds what he's looking for.
Okay.
He sees an island, and he sees, just calm, like good weather, and it kind of reminds him of home. Like maybe could be that rock looks like, the one that's off the shore kind of deal. But I don't think he gets anything definite, right? But
yeah.
But it does bring Hilarion's mind to home.
Okay. So then Hilarion would look back at his compatriots and be like, all right, so we have to go get the golden shears, and then we have to throw Spyridon down the gorge, right?
Speaking of Spyridon, can we find him in the tapestries here? The moment of his death?
That one would still be on the loom. It's recent. Like
Okay.
You didn't Xenon, you've looked a good bit at that particular tapestry. And you didn't see it.
Okay.
And like it was interesting when you mentioned it that Spyridon had died. Like one of the fates was kind of like, oh, Spyridon's died. Like kind of like they didn't notice, or they didn't know about that almost.
Maybe they just think he died. Maybe he fell down the gorge but caught himself and he climbed back up. Maybe he's like Gandalf and he fought a Balrog and now he's come back up and he leveled.
Wait, what if she messed with the weave just like Xenon did?
Ooh.
Like if it's not on the if you didn't see it on the weave and like they didn't know about it, then like what if they did something similar? Can we?
Are they weaving?
Now, Bakira, if you can't trust the fates, who can?
No, not the fates. The lady.
The jealous shepherd.
So
Yeah.
Looking like as you are having this thought and you like look back at the tapestry, you see that like the events on this island, like from basically like the only thing you can see clearly, the last thing you can see clearly on that tapestry is you all leaving Akaros. And so what has happened since then is a bit fuzzy and it's not fully realized. And now the weaving has stopped entirely.
Okay, so it's not
And
here.
so it's not there. And like maybe it would have been, but it's almost like, well, without like seeing Clotho kind of weave it, you wouldn't really know what has happened there necessarily. But you do know that without the strings being able to be cut, people can't die, and that things seem to return as the sun rises.
So we should go to the
Gotcha.
gorge.
There's many things for us to do there.
So as you all are leaving the temple, assuming that's what you're doing,
Yes.
Xenon and Hilarion, you see yourselves walking out, and then you see Euphemia and Kelos coming to walk in, and then the earth begins to shake very violently, and pieces of the pillars that hold up part of the temple fall, and you see all of you being crushed. And then you see yourselves about to walk out of the door to the temple, and you can see Euphemia and Kelos approaching. And so this is going to be a contest of blood and valor. As your fates are intertwined with Euphemia and Kelos's, and you have seen your shared doom.
Good.
Oh, great.
Good.
Love it.
So-
Love this for us.
Is there a chance that I can just assist my way out of this one and not damn it?
Nope.
No.
Let me see how I can actually do this. What is it? Ah, okay. I have dice for this. I actually need to add a new thing. Disaster is the name of this thing.
Oh, good.
And it is.
And our Hilarion and I, we like share a look, and we both realize we've both just seen
Yeah.
our shared demises.
You've seen this thing that's going to happen
Yeah.
in like the next few moments, and you have time to either react or to ignore it, basically. Because here's the thing: full disclosure, right? You all can just stop moving, but Euphemia and Kellos do not know this thing is about to happen,
Right.
and so you get the idea that they will die if you don't do something. And that if you don't succeed in doing something, that you may also be grievously wounded. So let me double check my numbers on this. Yep, 1d8, 1d10, perilous,
Right.
blood and valor. Just a 6. Just a small disaster. Nothing earth-shattering. I think that
And-
means I rolled a 1. Yeah, it does.
Xenon must take up this challenge.
Oh, that only rolled 1 die.
That seems like not what you had intended.
Here, let me try this. 1d10. Okay, so it's not a 6. The target number is a 14.
I much prefer the first number, but I understand that we have to go with the 14. Okay.
Can we split the difference and go with a 9?
Nope.
You're great.
Yeah, so if you suffer, you'll mark pathos.
Man. All right. Here's what I love about this island. Everything comes up Xenon epithets. Shadow-wise, far-sighted.
Oh.
It's super easy. I don't have to do any mental
You don't have to
gymnastics.
do a lot of, right.
It's all about fate. It's all about managing the outcomes of our decisions or non-decisions. Okay. Yep. I'm pathos this one for show. Because the 14 is a real number. Is it just the two of us that are taking this, that deal with this?
So others can participate. Because it's kind of one of those things where this thing's about to happen, and it's like you have time to be like, hey, wait a minute, we've got to do something. So,
Okay.
If Makaria and Phaedrus would like to participate as well, they may. Or if they'd rather assist.
I think Xenon would at the very least say, stagger a moment and say something along the lines of, I feel as though I've just seen the 6 of us crushed under the pillars of this temple. So that others can
Stops it. Right?
can do something if they want to, so that you're not all just walking into this like blind. Like Hilarion and I just stop, and you two continue forward, and they continue forward, and then you all die.
Yeah, I forget. For the divine favor, if we're going to spend a divine favor, do we do that at input value, or do we...
There should be like a specific thing for divine favor.
One more at the end
Yeah.
for divine favor, and you tell it how many favor you're going to spend, and it'll juice your roll by a d4 or more. But it's the highest of the d4s, right? So if you do 2 divine favor, the highest you could ever get out of that is 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
So it's blood and valor.
Blood and valor, yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, Phaedrus will try to help with that.
All right.
Or we'll undertake that challenge. Right?
Phaedrus, what is your what is it when I use a bond with somebody? What is it again? It's their epithet.
When you use a bond for someone to bolster you, it's their name die.
Okay, Phaedrus, what is your name?
The D8.
A D8. Okay. Oh God, 1d8, not an 18. My God. All right, here we go.
It's an opinionated cat.
It is. He is so opinionated.
Macarius will take this on as well.
All right. So we've got.
And I spent a bond for Macarian to borrow your
To borrow which one?
your
name
name
die.
die, I think it is.
If somebody sits out, they can give a domain. If
Right.
somebody's calling on a bond, then it's the name die.
Yep.
D8.
Okay. Cool.
And the target was what?
14.
14.
14.
Whoa.
Oh, look at you, Phaedrus, with the 19.
Whoa. There's some heroics happening.
None of us want to suffer on this one.
No.
You know.
Okay, well nobody does.
That is
good.
awesome.
All right, so the Hilarion start us off. What does Hilarion do? The ground begins to shake, just as you saw, and like some of the pillars. They're not the ones that are like holding up this temple, but just some of the ones that were decorative that start to crack and kind of shake and begin to fall towards Euphemia and Kelos.
Hilarion is going to do the mom seatbelt thing. Those arms go out.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to say, and he's just going to stop everybody from going forward. That's his whole thing. He's not saying nothing to nobody else. He's not changing things. If the gods didn't want them to die, they would have gotten a vision too. As far as he's concerned, he's probably going to have to kill those two later. Might as well be done this way. Obviously, the gods are displeased with these two idiots. And he's saying the gods are saying we're gonna kill them, and you should stay out of it. And he says, "Oh well, if that's your will, okay." And I'll stop my friends from doing so by putting that mom arm out there as the seatbelt, to block, so make sure nobody gets moving.
All right, so you stop everybody. So now either Macaria or Xenon.
Macaria can go first.
Okay, sure. What does Macaria do?
Well, since since things started shaking around them, that was more of her concern. So she just cast another spell of like a dome to block off anything falling in the area. Using resolve in spirit, potentially like being a little late and like catching like one of the rocks hitting her or something, so that she was able to kind of realize what was going on and protect everyone.
Yeah, I think you've definitely like brought that up. I think it's this isn't fruit, right? These are like big pieces of marble, and so I think it does like crack. So it's not like a fix all, right? But you've shielded them from some, but things are still continuing to fall.
Yep.
Xenon.
So Xenon, as Hilarion goes out to stop all of us, Xenon like ducks under that and sprints forward, because he saw their deaths too, and he saw the way the pillars were falling, and involved some craft and reason to very quickly lash one of the pillars that was going to crush the others.
Yeah.
And tweak it just enough to get it to rotate just enough so that pillar was not going to crush them and knock one of the other pillars that was going to crush us, just to buy us inches, feet, maybe.
Yeah.
And as those things are falling, they are falling appropriately to not harm us.
And Phaedrus.
So Phaedrus will probably do like a two-pronged thing here. He did tap into his resolve in spirit as well as the blood and valor here. The blood and valor, I think, is as he sees I had their names, Euphemia and Kelos, right? Starting to enter that area, and like stuff is starting to crack, and there's like something that starts to fall. He slips his shield off his back and like hurls it. So like it kind of like dings that rock out of the way before it hits them. And as he's like kind of like coming back around from that, he'll also like throw his spear.
Yep.
Which like lands in front of them, like kind of a little pulse.
That's awesome.
To try to show them like the shadowy vision of like everything collapsing and everybody getting killed. You can't all touch here, right? You can't touch
Right.
Bad. It's connected.
Stay away.
So do not
Yeah.
do not interact. Do not
Yeah.
want more tangles,
Yes.
please. Yeah, cool. So with that like pulse, I think that pulse like physically pushes them back as much as it does like make them realize what's about to happen. And so like between everyone's efforts of just knocking things to the side and making a shield, like everything that was going to fall on them, they're with that last pulse, they're kind of pushed back away from the temple to where nothing can fall on them at this point. And shortly after, the earth ceases to quake.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Would we fill up the name track thing enough that we would trigger another update? Is that an end of session thing or during stuff?
No, as it happens, just go ahead and do it. So yeah, if you need to increase your name die, go ahead and do that.
Cool.
And it's all good. Yeah, you'll need it. So yeah, the crisis is averted. You can still see that the sort of threads of fate between Xenon and Hilarion and then Euphemia and Kelos are still there, the like knots that kind of have them tied together, but you can see that they've loosened a bit at this point. It's not quite such a tight thing. But yeah, and they seem shaken but kind of grateful. And then it looks like they sort of want to go into the temple and speak with the Fates at this point. The Fates who are now, there's like these huge, like really dusty chairs that seem like they haven't been used in a very, very long time that the Fates have kind of now sat on. They seem like relatively comfortable, just not used because they don't take breaks. They've never taken a break before. And so they're just kind of like, they're all just kind of sitting and like looking at each other like, what do we do? And you see that like Clotho is actually just like knitting.
She see something.
Just can't not
knitting.
create.
She just can't. She literally cannot, like, her hands cannot be still.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, what would you guys like to do?
Well, our options are to go find Spyridos or go find the golden shears, right?
Yeah, so I'll say, since we're kind of heading that way, depending on how you guys want to do it, the kind of options for the battle here, just so you can sort of angle your planning in one of like the two that are presented, and you may find another that you prefer. One is to actually go retrieve the shears from the gorge. The other is to find another way to cut the strands of fate. Whatever that might be. Perhaps, Spyridon knows something, or Kellos, or anyone. But that's kind of like the two main options presented: is either find another way to cleave the strands, or to retrieve the shears. Each of those kind of have their own challenges.
Well, does anyone have any opinions?
Opinions.
Well,
I feel like we should put things right this time, not go editing and making new stuff.
Yeah, can we? I mean, there's a lot of crazy going on this island. I think we should try to fix something.
what do the signs of the gods tell us?
Well, Hephaestus was one of the signs, right?
Mm-hmm.
An empty forge. So maybe he wants us to make new shears.
Do we still have star metal left?
No.
What was the takeaway from the empty forge?
It was without bellows, the coals of the furnace cool. These are not the most helpful signs of the gods.
Yeah, that's
what was the other one?
There was the splintered shield. What is broken should be discarded and forgotten. And then an empty forge without bellows, the coals of the furnace cool.
And the splintered shield is from
Ares.
Okay.
Neither of which you guys have really had signs from before. You have some dealings with you don't have any stars with either of them, I don't think. Looking at
Because we
the
kind of.
vaulted heaven. Yeah, I mean, you had the option for Hephaestus before, I think, but you didn't do the thing that he wanted.
I can tell you that Hilarion is definitely leaning. He is definitely wanting to honor Ares as that's his dad.
It's Papa.
That's Pop. You know, but he doesn't know what that is. In his mind, he's thinking, well, this could be easy if we go down and we find the shears and they're broken. Well, then we know that they're just supposed to stay broken. We throw them away. But it's possible that in this phrase of thing, maybe Spyridon is the shield and he's broken and he needs to be. So, okay, Hilarion's going to look at everybody and he's like, all right, I know that we voted that I would be the leader. And
you were the most glorious of us in the last challenge.
And I understand that. But there's a lot of complication on this island, and it involves a lot of spirity stuff, and that's not really my forte. That's more you two. And I'm just gonna tell you what I think, and then I'm willing to hear suggestions on the otherwise. My thought is we go find the shears. We return the shears. Then we kill Spyridos, Euphemia, and Kyridos. All three of them. We just kill all three of them. Because we should kill Spyridos is supposed to already be dead. All right, that's one. Two, Euphemia, she's cheating and jealousy, and that's just not good. We should kill her because obviously she's bad. And then the other dude, he interfered with the gods. He threw the tool of the gods away. That right there. So he's there. They're all dead, and the problem solved.
When we arrived, the shears were already gone.
Yeah.
And the machine of this fate weaving was already broken.
The loop.
Does Ares want us to not fix the loom?
I don't think so. I think Ares would want us to.
I mean,
sure the
I'm just gonna say Ares is the god of battle and war, right?
I don't think he wants people to come back after they've been.
Yeah, he
dead.
likes to defeat his enemies and then they go away. We're straightforward, family. We see a problem, we hit it with a boulder, you know, and then that problem's gone. But if we don't fix this, then they'll just keep popping up, and it's gonna take away one of our best methods for dealing with problems, and we don't like that.
I think that there would be another way to let people die without making it so that the outcome of war is determined by fate instead of by who is best in war.
I think those are matters bigger than us, and we can only fix what we have here in the here and now.
I'm asking, is that what Ares wants us to do? Is to find another way for the strands to be cut such that people can die?
Hold on.
And when they're supposed to, but without the fates directing the outcomes of the wars that Ares wages.
Is there?
The gods put us here to do something, and make these big decisions and make these movements.
Maybe the old and busted. Maybe the old and busted is that dude's sheep.
Weren't they the
sheep.
best sheep, the strongest sheep, the only sheep worth having, even though the three fates themselves said so? That seems like not the broken part. I mean, his body lying broken at the bottom of the gorge, that's broken.
I mean, it feels
Yeah, but-
like Ares is, if Spyridos is a broken shield, but they're still keeping that shield out there and it should be thrown away, well, then it should go. I feel that's the way. I don't know if we can, do a sacrifice to Ares or something like that and maybe get some clarification. There should be a way we
Clarification.
signals.
Ethan's like, nah. I'm just gonna
Clarification,
GM let you
man.
know.
Gods.
You
Yeah.
gotta figure out. Yeah, because I think Xenon is fundamentally asking, like, what is the scope of our agency here?
That's a great question.
What
Because
did you say?
if it's like kill a guy, okay, yeah, let's go kill a guy. Let's go kill 3 guys. Let's go kill 100. I mean, we've killed so many. Let's keep killing. That's great. Or is it like,
We're
are
not
we
going crazy.
change-
Just 3.
but
Just 3.
we have already in this game led to the death of many people through our failures and triumphs. 3 more is nothing, right? And to me, is like, it just feels like those 1 to 3 deaths are really low ball. Like it feels like the signs of the gods are encouraging us to consider like the higher machinations of how like the shit works, because like we've had a deal where, do we allow a crack into the underworld, right? Like we're dealing with big shit. Isn't this big shit?
So,
in
wait,
like the most non-Xenon Toker-esque like
there are 2 options, Ethan.
Find another way to cleave the threads or find the shears. I will say maybe this will help. As you all are talking and walking, you hear the sound of music. Someone's singing, carried on the breeze, and you look, and over in the distance you see on a hill there is a small house and an enclosure, and you see sheep, and their wool like shines almost with just how fine it is. And you see that there is a man kind of knelt down in front of a sheep and singing and like brushing a sheep. That could be no one other than Spyridon. And you see
Okay.
him in the distance.
Well, perhaps we should table our philosophical discussion and speak to the man himself.
Yeah, let's just go ask him.
Yeah.
Hilarion,
At first, we go
please,
kill this guy. Then we'll
please,
figure out. ways to-
yeah, at that moment, Xenon's going to ask, Hilarion, please give us a day before you decide to brain the man, please.
Well, I'm not going to agree to a day, but we should ask him some questions first. I'm not a monster. I'm confused here myself. I
Okay.
said I was willing to talk it out with you guys. Guys. Looks over at Spyridon and goes, "Hey, dead man. Come here, I got questions." And then he starts walking towards you.
Does he know he's dead? Does he know he's dead, or does he run because he thinks you're here to kill him?
Yeah, well, no. So as you all approach Spyridon, he looks at you all and just with a big smile says, "Ah, greetings! You have the look of heroes about you.
Indeed,
What a
we
glorious
are,
day!
sir.
What a glorious day this is."
We are heroes. In fact, we're here on something of a quest.
Oh,
And
what's
we
that?
have some questions because it seems you're going to be the man to help us.
I'm happy to help in any way I can. I've.
All right, so let me just.
I don't
lay
know
out
what
the
all I could
situation.
tell you. I'm just a sheep herd. I raise these sheep here.
Can I
Wonderful.
pet one of the sheep?
Yeah, and the
Awesome.
sheep are so docile. They're ready for pets. They don't try to bite you.
Awesome.
They're just the best sheep. They're literally the best sheep you've ever seen.
Cool. I'm gonna give head scritches to one of them, and that'll make me happy.
Yeah, and
Hilarion.
as you do so, Spyridon smiles at you and he says, "Yeah, they're quite lovely, aren't they?"
This is very, very pleasant creatures. Thank you.
They look nummy. So here's
It's a
the
little
thing.
sad when you say nummy.
Here's the thing. So apparently, a few days ago, maybe yesterday, I don't know for sure. I think yesterday, you had a running challenge with Euphemidos or whatever her name is.
Ah, Euphemia. Yes, she challenged me to a contest.
Yeah. Do you remember how that went?
Yes. Yeah. So we were running, and I think I tripped and fell. I'm not sure. I fell some way, and it was dark for a while. Had some very strange dreams, but then I awoke on this glorious day, sun shining on my face, on top of this.
All
hill.
right, so let me clear
It's
that
been
up for
lovely.
you.
Another
What
day.
happened is
Oh gosh.
you tripped and fell into the gorge and died.
Mm.
And then your buddy, Crocodose, or whatever his name is, he stole the golden shears and threw them also down into the gorge so that your thread of fate couldn't be cut because he thought that would be bad. So you're kind of dead, but not dead,
Oh.
which is rare, but not as rare as I had previously thought it was. Through our adventures, we've run into this problem a few times.
And unfortunately, it is increasingly
He's
common.
He's
Yeah.
not incorrect.
Yeah, and some other people on the island are now not able to die. So it seems like nobody's able to die. And so we're kind of finding ourselves stuck in a situation here where we have to fix this. So I'm curious, while you were down at the bottom of the gorge, did you happen to see the shears? Or do you know an alternate method of cutting the threads that we could get in the meantime before we find the shears or whatnot?
This is
Also,
all quite a
sorry
lot to
about your
take
death.
in. So can I have a moment to think about this?
Sure.
Are you
Take
sure
your
I'm dead?
time.
Can I ask you a question before you think through all of that?
Sure.
Why were you having a race with her?
Euphemia wanted something. I don't. She talked a lot about why, and it didn't make a lot of sense to me, but it was something about her sheep being better than mine, and that, if she could beat me in a foot race, then that would show that she was the better herd, because, you have to run quite quickly to keep up with sheep sometimes when they run away. Mine never do, but hers seem to sometimes. But
Who picked the racing route?
oh, she did. She planned the whole thing.
Yeah, we think there might have been some foul play. She may have pushed you. Not totally certain on that. We were kind of hoping you could clarify that. Do you remember any pushing, your pre-falling to your death stage?
No, I remember being quite surprised by the whole thing.
As one is when death happens to them,
Well, that's a
regardless
shame.
of how.
If that's true, I'm very sorry that she felt she needed to do that. That pains me greatly.
That's a very interesting way to look at it. If
I'm
your
having-
sheep,
This guy's just too positive.
if your
He's back from the dead. Like everything's
He's
good.
good.
Yeah,
relentless
everything's
about
great.
it.
He's having
God.
a great day. He's having an extremely good day.
As
far as he knows, he died now, and then he was gifted another day by a turn of fate.
Yep.
And then he's very
If-
thankful.
if everything that we're saying is truthful and you did perhaps die, who would take over your flock? Does someone else know your ways?
No. And in hindsight, I feel like this is probably just a bit of a just sour note for our island here. Is we're all very, very guarded with our herding methods and our flock, and all. It's very competitive, and having faced the consequences of that myself, I'm now starting to think that maybe that's not such a good idea.
I agree that perhaps if something were to come of this, it would be the intermingling of flocks to make the best wool to continue the weave going.
I mean, I make the best wool.
Right, but
Well,
if
my
you
sheep do. I can't take that much credit. I just feed them and care for them and sing to them. I think that's part of it. I think they like.
I think it's the singing, really. If I had to put my finger on anything, it would be the singing.
I was told that maybe one of my distant cousins might have been Orpheus.
There you go.
I'm not sure about that, but that's what how stories fly in families.
Of course.
Has your family always herded sheep, or are you the first?
No, my family has herded sheep for some time.
And have they always been the family of the prize sheep?
Not
or-
always. Not always. I have a gift, I think. One given to me by the gods, of course, but I use it well.
Is there any way to tell if this guy is divinely touched?
I don't
I reach out and touch him.
just touch him. Well, now he has been, I guess.
Yay.
But yeah, no, I don't think this guy
My
gives
husband
off...
didn't even giggle, and that's annoying.
I think this guy reads as a mortal.
Right.
He's quite old. Now that you're like looking at him, he seems a bit weathered. And that he's been doing this for a very, very long time. But he seems very happy to have found himself alive. So
On the path for that bridge that you were crossing the gorge during your race,
oh yes.
is it a clear pass, or is there a lot of...
I mean, we tried to put ropes up on the edges, but we didn't want to break the bridge, if that makes sense. It's
Sure.
just sort of an arch of rock that kind of connects. So there are no sort of precautions to prevent someone from falling, but typically you walk across very carefully, and a few sheep have been lost over the years. None of mine, but a few of other sheep have fallen. And sometimes they're fine. Most of the time, we don't have to go into it. It pains me to think. I'm starting to kind of remember things the more we talk about this. It's a bit much to handle. But yes, if there's any way I can help right this wrong, I can go talk to the fates. I need to bring them some wool anyway.
Well, I mean, if you know of a way to cut the threads that don't involve the shears, that might be helpful, since you do all the shearing and you're dealing with that wool anyway. Maybe you know a way that we could get them back to working, and then we could go find the shears or not find the shears, but at least they could continue their job and help solve the problem.
Well, I mean, my very good friend Kelos is in charge of the shears. He keeps them razor sharp. And that is
But when he's not throwing them off the cliff.
Yes, I suppose he did do that. You keep telling me that he has done this. That's quite an interesting turn of events. But yes, he's in charge of the shears. So I don't know what goes into cutting the thread. I imagine it's something quite special. It's fate, as it were, right? And
Maybe we
the
should
lives
talk
of
to
mortals.
him again.
Okay, well, I mean, it sounds like you've helped us to the best of your ability and whatnot.
I'm
Please.
just so glad you're here.
Yeah.
Is there a way that Xenon can get this guy to explain like why his sheep are better?
I mean, just looking, like, it literally just seems like he takes very good care of them, and that, like, it does not seem to be like, it just seems like he's a very kind and like gentle, like, shepherd.
Okay,
And
he
the sheep
just
respond to that.
has the best animal husbandry.
He's
on the
just
island.
good.
And-
He's just really
yeah.
good. Yeah. Like
Okay.
you don't, and like the more you look, like, this man is not, he is a mortal, and he is just
Yeah.
very good at what he does.
And the sheep that I'm petting and touching, this isn't like one of Zeus's many wives or
Right.
girlfriends or whatever. Like it's okay.
It's just sheep.
Okay.
But yeah, as you guys are kind of discussing what to do, Spyridon looks at you and says, I have a question for you all.
Of course.
What
You might have an answer.
what happens to me if things go back to normal?
Well, see, that's a little complicated. And we were actually discussing that. We really don't know yet. I think probably the best way we'll figure it out, is you just enjoy your day. It's a nice day out here. You have your sheep. You're having a good day. Just enjoy the day. Take the day off.
Or keep
and
sneezing
then
your sheep.
go.
Don't take it off.
Yeah, do whatever you want to do. Don't let me tell you how to spend your day. And then we'll go. We'll find the shears. We'll try to help. We'll find out, and then we'll let the gods decide. And if if it ends that you got to be dead, then you got to be dead. I mean, but if you don't, then congratulations, you don't.
I've got to be honest with you all. I don't particularly want to be dead.
You know,
fair.
the
That's
underworld is
fair.
not that bad. Our friend here, point to Makaria, like,
I grew up
can tell
there.
you there are places, you
Hey,
know,
maybe
where
you
the
could
dead live that
raise
are
goat
just
sheep.
fine.
Maybe you could raise goat sheep. Do they have goat sheep in the underworld, Makiria?
Yes, they have ghost sheep in the
See,
underworld.
it's a whole other group of sheep you could go herd.
And their quality is middling at best. You could really improve
think
You could
the
improve
state
them.
of ghost shape.
I think we have come to the point of a contest here.
Yeah.
Of
and so-
what?
There is a trial to convince Spyridon to face his fate and accept it. Otherwise, he will not.
Yet.
Otherwise, he will not.
Well, we know what it is.
Oh.
We know exactly what it is. Hilarion is going to throw him down the gorge so he can be broken again. That is his fate. Hilarion has said, I will kill him and the other two. And none of us have said, Hilarion, you shouldn't do that. So,
Which
Oh,
is
He's gonna
Hilarion
throw him down the
fine.
gore.
Means that they've all said, "You're right, Hilarion. That was brilliant."
none of us
You
have...
know,
Because look, we all know the ante for that is a bond with Hilarion. And none of us are yet willing to spend a single dot on our character sheet to save the lives of 3 people.
I just
You're gonna
haven't.
hurl him down the gorge,
Listen.
and then when he's down in the bottom of the gorge, you're just gonna be like, "Hey, Spiritos, can you see the shears?"
Can you see the shears? I'm dead.
And we
I
wait
didn't
for the
realize
next
that
morning.
this was actually
see them down there?
Hilarion's decision. Yes, I would spend a bond for him not
He's
to
the-
kill 3 people.
He's the leader. He stated the plan.
Jesus. No, badness. No, bad.
So
We haven't gotten to that point yet. We got to spend these bonds. I'm just saying. Their
So-
fates are known to us.
So, yeah. So you all now have to convince this man that he should be okay
Step
with
one,
the fact that he
convince
needs to
this
die.
guy you should
Um,
die. Yeah.
So this is a contest of arts and oration. With Spyridon, the carefree, blessed, and spry herder.
That
and
all sounds like big dice coming our way.
so there's also just a really interesting thing about him is he's just got really good luck.
Really? He fell off a gorge.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's weird
Hey,
though
he's
because
still
he's
alive?
alive now. It's weird how
all
that
the
works
people
out.
that fall down gorges in all of time, he's the one.
But this is so it's very strange because the rest of you find yourselves not having much luck as you spend time with this man, because he wants this to be an extended conversation, for sure. So you all will have to walk and talk with him as he goes to gather some of his sheep from a different spot on the island. So what that means is that because of Spyridon's great fortune, this contest against him is going to be epic. This is the thing that I'm being told by the book here. And you all need to describe how you suffer misfortune in addition to whether or not you prevail in the contest.
Oh,
Because all of you suffer some form of misfortune just walking and speaking with this man.
can I? I don't know that I necessarily want this guy to accept his fate. Can I not be in this?
You could, yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, though. Hilarion hasn't decided that this guy's got to die. We got to get the thing back and then find out how this works out. If the fates say we should leave this dude alive, then he's going to be like, okay, I guess we leave him alive.
So I think Makaria would have a sense of this from where she's from, but Hades is not getting what he is owed. And that's a problem. These people who have died will be dead one way or another. Otherwise, Hades will be mad. You don't know how that's going to happen. You don't know if that needs to happen, but you know that Hades wants that to happen, and that there's an imbalance here. Let's see what this target number
I'll take
13.
up that test.
Okay, so it's epic, so you have to mark a pathos. You got to pay to play.
Hilarion will take up the challenge.
To convince this man that he should be okay with the fact that he needs to die.
Everyone should.
I mean, what's the worst that can happen? He says no and just haunts you guys for eternity. It's fine.
I don't think that's the worst thing that can happen. I will assist Macaria.
Okay.
I
So
will
Hilarion-
assist Hilarion.
With a craft
Okay.
reason D10.
So we got
Uh,
Macaria and Hilarion.
Gonna give Hilarion Resolve in Spirit, which is a D10.
I yawned. All right, so we have at least one of you prevails. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Your what dice are you giving me, Mike?
1d10.
1d10.
I mean, I don't really want this guy to accept his fate, but I also don't want to like not help the crew do what
Yeah.
the crew's gonna do. So
I get a bond, right? You see one?
I do, and a
Mhm.
single glory, but I don't know. It just felt like, as much as Xenon probably doesn't want to be in on this, like me as a player is like, well, that's kind of crappy to like be a big old stick in the mud. So I'll still help out somebody.
You
Um,
stick in the mud, you.
Okay, so this is going to be good, I think, because I'm just very excited for how Hilarion convinces this guy it's okay to die. But we'll start with Macaria. Recite your deeds and also recite your misfortune that you befall along this journey. That just happens because of the fortune being straight. Not fate, but fortune is what's at play here.
I think Macaria is walking and talking. And along the way, produces a little, conjures some food to eat, pomegranates, of course, and gives some to this man. And she's talking just of death and accepting it and what is
Mhm.
on the other side, because she's well aware of what it is, and convincing him in that way. And you know how like you're walking, and then just out of fucking nowhere you trip,
Mm-hmm.
like, and you just do that whole like
Yeah.
thing where you don't quite fall but you almost fall.
Mm-hmm.
I think she does that and twists her ankle a little bit,
Yeah.
but doesn't really fall.
It's
Just
enough to
looks like a
mark
dumbass.
pathos.
Just looks
Yeah.
like a dumbass for a good, she was doing
Gotcha.
great, and then
There's
not
that
just to
moment.
this guy but to everybody
There's that moment where it's like, oh yeah, half of me is like just a
Still
normal
mortal.
dumb human.
Still-
Yeah, and you're
Still
just
normal.
watching. You're watching as Spyridon is like walking towards like his flock, and like will step on like at one point like steps on a snake, and the snake just kind of slithers away instead of biting him, and like just all of these things keep happening. He's just outrageously lucky as he's walking. And it's just very strange. And then you look at him again and you realize that this is just a mortal man, that there's something very
just a
strange happening
dude,
here because
yeah.
he's just a guy.
Also through that I just upped my name die to D10.
Nice. Yeah. And then Hilarion, how do you convince this man? Full
Well,
of his
Hilarion is a very friendly fellow.
Hmm.
Puts his arm around the guy's shoulder, he's walking, they're talking, and the thing you gotta look here, Spyridon, is that you're not alive. I mean, you feel alive, you believe you're alive, you are alive right now, but really you're dead.
Hmm.
You're supposed to be dead. So what you need to look at this as a gift of a few days, or a day, or 2 days, however long this is going to end up being, probably just a day, and not be greedy. Because keep in mind, I mean, eventually you're going to die. You're not immortal, so eventually you're going to go to the underworld, and you're going to have to answer for all these years that you've been gone. And you really don't want Hades to be upset about this, because he's not getting his people, and he has the tendency to react in unkind ways when things happen. And he could take that out in a way that we wouldn't like. He might decide to send like a sheep plague up here, and your sheep could die because you were selfish and decided not to die when you were supposed to die.
You see tears welling up in Spyridon's eyes.
See,
Going for the
It's my-
jugular.
my-
I
my
like it.
sheep.
you gotta think your way through it. And the thing is Hilarion gestures when he talks. He always does. He's moving around and blah blah blah. And he's like, you have to really think when he swings his arm out and just rams it right into a tree. Just, sorry about that.
It cracks. The whole sheet just cracks.
Like a whole branch just falls off. Just like,
No.
you know.
And you've got like it's like 2-3 inches just embedded one of these branches, and you just pull it out. Just
Yeah.
annoying.
That's gonna hurt later. So, I mean, really, you don't need to look at it as though I'm alive and I'm going to die again, because that's not really the case. You're already dead. You're in a temporary pause. You've been given a day to spend with your sheep. And then when time comes and they cut that thread, you'll, go play with ghost sheep.
Yeah, that makes me feel better. I think. Yeah. I've lived a long life, right?
You have.
Quite long. That's
And I bet when you're out there running with the ghost sheep, you're not going to have aches and pains or worry about, was it rainy last night or do they get lost? Because, they're ghost sheep.
yeah.
Probably easier to shear.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah.
My family thought I was crazy to be a sheep herd. They're from can't quite
Ghost
remember.
wool is very, very important.
Hmm.
They use it all across the underworld. Ghost.
See, you need to look at this as your apprenticeship before you're moving on to your masterpiece.
That's a great way to look at. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know exactly how this is going to happen. They'll cut the thread and you'll just go to sleep, or we'll toss you off the cliff. Whatever happens, just to make it all right. But we'll try to do it as gentle as possible.
Hmm.
Also, Macaria doesn't really lie, so ghost sheep are a thing.
It's canon now.
It's canon. They are real.
I'll inform the Greeks.
That special ghost wool has to come from somewhere.
Yeah. Chthonic silk or
Wait,
chthonic thread.
would that make transparent clothes?
I mean, you can do that with regular wool.
It's just special.
Just special.
Say it.
But yeah, I think Spyridon's kind of like, okay. And he says, where I'm from, people are very good at what they do. Pretty much everything. And I've been here for a long time. But you ever find yourself, I can't remember its name, but if you ever find yourself in a land where masterpieces abound, then you'll know that's my home, and that would be great. It'd be great if you could tell them I did wonderfully with my life.
Will do, buddy. Will do.
Is this guy Athenian?
He's not.
Okay.
You're not sure where he's from, and he does have a bit of an accent to your ears that is not one that you've heard before, and it's a bit melodious, the way he speaks.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Would any of us world travelers kind of catch the reference of what he's saying there in terms of where he's from?
You do. You've not heard of this place where there are just endless masterpieces, and where performance and art and anything anyone does is so successful. But he tells you of it for some time, and that he kind of one of the last things he says is I decided to herd sheep because Their wool reminded me of the waters around my homeland, which sat like clouds almost. I've not seen waters similar since. But this wool comes close.
Hilarion's gonna, because he's got his arm around the guy's shoulder, kind of looks over his shoulder at the other guys and kind of does that you think I should bonky now kind of motion.
Makaria shakes her head.
Fine, we'll wait. It's okay.
But yeah, and then he'll kind of get to where he was going. It's this pasture, and he says, if you're looking for the gorge, it's just over that rise in that direction. If you intend to go look for the shears, I think I'm going to stay here with my sheep and enjoy my day.
Stay here, relax, recover. Enjoy your day, sir.
And he says, yeah, and you all as well. And then he turns and he says, aren't you a good sheep hero? And Baklava, you look wonderful. I haven't seen you for some time.
Doubly nummy.
Good.
What a joke.
That's a
Good.
very
Long-
oblique curry goat
Long
reference.
lasting joke.
Yes.
Yes,
that
what
we
a
have.
good wholesome man that you all consigned to death.
Yeah, that's what we
Um,
do. That's what we do up in here.
And so yeah, so now he won't.
He's too
haunt you
good.
when
Don't
he
trust
dies.
that. You can't trust that guy.
Now he won't haunt you when he dies.
It's a front. That is some kind of creepy front. That's what's going on there. Yes.
Too damn bad.
But yes, so that leaves you all now. There are no other. You've handled the trials here. Now it's just how would you like to resolve this?
Well, I think we're going to go to the gorge and get the thing.
All right,
Yeah.
sounds good. So we are now heading into the battle. And there's a thing I can do in Roll20 to make that like visual. I think, if I remember right. Yeah, there's the battle thing. Is that it? Yeah. Yeah. And so everybody has their tokens. We are all currently in the clash. Let me see here. So, delving into the Forgotten Gorge to recover the shears of Atropos. I see the threats. Gotcha. So there's no real like determined domain for this. How are you all approaching this? You see the gorge, and Makaria and Phaedros, who are kind of more in tune to the strangeness of things, you see just threads everywhere. In heaps and piles and tangled knots. This is almost where the discarded threads of fate go. Is kind of the impression you get. And it's a gorge, and there are many paths that lead down, but they're all winding. The gorge kind of twists and turns with many caves. Some of the caves also, unfortunately for you all, open at such an angle to where if something were thrown in, perhaps something could fly into a cave and fall for some distance. And so it is a very confusing tangle, much like the threads of fate that you all are able to see, kind of twisted around as well. And so you know that this isn't just going to be a hike, that this place is strange. But yeah, how would you all like to proceed? It is vast, it is revealing, and it is haunted. So this is the class. This is your first foray, your first attempt. So I think maybe the leader here would get to determine an approach. And so what domain?
Oh, what domain?
Yeah,
Oh,
for this
well,
first clash.
This is the first clash.
So like your first attempt to navigate the gorge and to find what you're looking for.
Well, we're going to say blood and valor because we're going to climb on down there and go get the thing. I mean, that's Hilarion into a T.
I will say, so the arts and oration is not on the table. I should have mentioned.
Okay.
The gorge has the
It won't
the
take
modifier
you that
cold. The modifier, some like monsters and things like that have cold as a modifier, and it means that you just can't
That's
persuade
funny.
them.
That's funny.
Forge,
Um,
divulge your secrets to me.
Yes.
That's
So our target number is 15. This contest is mythic and perilous.
Hilarion will take up this challenge. Of course.
Phaedrus will take up this challenge.
Remember to mark your divine favor for every one of these contests you participate in.
Xenon will
They
take
will all
up
be
the
mythic.
challenge. Wow. Okay, good. Yeah.
Which means,
let's do
hey,
this.
if you want to earn bonds with gods, just call them out because you don't have to pay anything extra. It's already mythic.
Oh shit. Missed
And for
opportunities over here.
perilous,
Maybe. And for perilous, if you suffer, you mark pathos.
Yep.
It's not epic. I've Hilarion and Phaedrus so far.
Oh, Xenon is taking up the challenge for
as
sure.
well. All right, Makari.
Macaria is going to assist Hilarion by basically being his backpack. We're going to Yoda Luke this situation.
Yes.
And yeah, that's what we're doing here. So I'll just take my 1 glory.
So what do I get on that?
A D10 from my resolve spirit.
Okay. Cool. So everyone, test your fate. See how it goes. Okay, 20. That's good.
Oh, nice.
That's a good
Nice,
thing to
sir.
roll.
Nice.
16, very good.
All right.
All right.
Hilarion, what is your name die?
My name die is a D10.
Okay, thank you.
Got the big numbers up and keep that energy up because
Yeah,
this
we need-
threat
we need
phase
that.
is a real doozy.
Okay. All right. And the great deeds and trophies. When I spend one of those, that's a
It's a D10.
It's a D10.
It's an advantage.
Okay.
And there is a D10 on the line for this. Well, whoever's best gets the D10 advantage to spend on any contest remaining at the battle. So.
Okay.
All right, so everyone prevails. So starting with Xenon, you all enter into this gorge. It is this vast tangle of caves and rocks. And as you enter in, you do become aware of the threads of fate that are kind of right. You can kind of feel them as you like pass through them, and you can see where they go. But what does Xenon do?
So Xenon gets prepped at the top of this gorge, this vast chasm, and with him he brought the clockwork gorilla from Spyros, which will anchor us with thick rope, so that the final fall would not happen with this great lumbering beast. And Xenon calls upon Hermes and calls him forward and says, great Hermes, daring Hermes, we heroes delve these depths which have not been seen by a living soul in an unknown number of years, and we will find what it is that we seek. I'm going to try and bring Hermes to this party.
So are you spending a bond?
No, I'm
No,
trying.
You're trying to make it
Yes.
mythic to get it. Okay, well you already rolled.
Well, I thought that was.
You've already. You have to call me. You have to let me know before you roll, so that if you suffer, I can punish you.
Oh. Well, my apologies.
It's already mythic, but so just.
Sorry. All right, then I will not do that.
Okay.
Earlier it seemed like I didn't have
Just
to.
call them out. You got to call them out beforehand. Just call them out. And then
Okay.
we can add
All right,
them on.
fair enough. Then I did spend my favor with Hermes to make this to buy my way in. So
Hermes is with you.
Then never mind. Okay. So yeah, Xenon gets us down to the bottom of the gorge. Through basically a net, a big heavy cargo net that this gorilla is securing at the top, and gives us a way down and back up.
All right. And as you all reach the bottom of the gorge, you cannot quite see all the way back up. Or as you look up, the sky is different. And you are starting to see visions of just things that may come to pass, things that didn't come to pass, things that have been forgotten. And these visions kind of surround you. Phaedros, how do you help navigate this first foray into the Forgotten Gorge?
I think Phaedros, in when we were with Spyridon, that, like, there's the threads that are connecting everybody, and they're going off in all these different directions. That Spyridon is so relentlessly positive that his thread that runs off somewhere, the direction of the gorge, and kind of like little silver sparkles to it, right? Like there's something like you can see there's something there. I think it's possible to see as we were at the top and starting to come down, like that's Spyridon's thread. It goes somewhere in vaguely that direction. But as we get down farther away and the light changes and there's so much stuff, like it's a vague idea that helps us know where to go.
Right.
It's going to be helpful, but it's not the answer.
Gotcha. Yeah. Excellent. And Hilarion, how do you successfully make sure that you guys are sort of safely within this gorge and can then begin your search in earnest?
Hilarion is going to start by turning and looking at Mercuria and going, "Are you sure?"
Positive. This will work wonderfully.
Okay. He'd pick her up, because it just seems awkward to have her crawl on his back. So he'd just pick her up. And then, Hilarion used his die with Hermes to get in here. That's his patron. So, I mean, this is, the thing is that Hilarion feels that in this instance, he needs to get back to the basics. And just, he just steps off the cliff. He's a boulder. He's going to roll. He tries to protect Mercuria as best as he can, but he's pretty sure that this is going to work out. It's the fastest way to the bottom, and he'll be fine.
Yeah. And you do it spectacularly. And Macarius, somehow your head never bashes into the ground. Somehow. It's a miracle. Truly, these are the works of the gods.
Has to be. She did start screaming at one point.
Because I don't think she expected that to be what he did.
That wasn't it at all. No.
So, Hilarion, you are best in the clash, which means that you receive a D10 advantage die that you can just use on any of these remaining contests of the battle.
Okay.
Which now brings us to our Defendencies contests. And so I'm going to list you off some things that are just kind of going on that you might want to prevent. Just a few, maybe just a little bit. So as you all are walking, these caves, like holes in this cliffside, as you look through them, you see decisions you could have made. And that if only you were to follow it, perhaps those could come to pass. And one in particular that catches your eye is a familiar volcanic isle with black sand on the beaches and strange mechanical contraptions around, and you see an enormous titan that is sat with a group of people around him, and he is teaching them his ways. And it is Prometheus free. And you see the island flourishing and the technological marvels being spread to the rest of the world. And a new age for man. A choice you could have made, but didn't. And this is a threat in the sense that if you don't do anything, perhaps it will come to pass, as fate has begun to unravel and is getting a bit strange down here. Perhaps one of you could be lost on this path. The next one you see, this one Hilarion sees as the leader. And Hilarion, you see a future in which you've returned home. And you see that your home, since that day, experienced not one day of peace. That every day is a battle as legions and armies and all attempt to fight you for physical superiority, for just to prove that they can best the best of heroes. And you see many catastrophes befall your island because you are there and for no other reason. And you see that this could happen if you return home. And so if you do not stop this, you will gain a new epithet, the Wanderer, and you will never be able to return home. And the third threat, because this is not an easy one, is it? You see Spyridon, mesmerized, walking like in a dream. You hear his voice as he's almost looking for a lost sheep, and you see as he's being pulled into a cave, and if nothing is done, he will enter that cave and never return, and will be stuck, perhaps alive on this earth, and Hades will never get his due, and he'll be trapped. And so those are the three threats we have to deal with. We have a potentially catastrophic future of, well, at least one that's worse for you all, of Prometheus being free and the gods being angered, and you're not sure, did Tartarus stay intact in that future? You're not 100% certain, but it would be a shame if those things came to pass. There's another future that Hilarion sees that must be dealt with, which is really, it's really more just Hilarion convincing himself that's not real. That is the threat here. And then, of course, Spyridon becoming trapped. And perhaps that strand never being able to be cut. So who's going
to go back to pitching in favor of the Prometheus one again? Because that's.
I'm curious. I'm very interested into what is supposed to happen if you don't stop that threat. I'm very interested in that. We'll find out. Or maybe we won't. But yeah, so who is defending and who will seize?
What is the seize? What is the seize?
So the seize is just to determine sort of what the finale contest is to retrieve the shears. So what domain, what the stakes are, and all those things. Otherwise, I get to set the stakes and the domain. And maybe victory won't be the victory you want.
Well,
So
I
we have
think that
4
Hilarion-
choices.
Go ahead.
I was saying we have 4 choices.
And I think Hilarion has to do the one. I mean,
Of
I don't
course.
think there's really another option there.
And just so everyone's aware, in the defend contest, everyone who prevails picks a thing to stop. You don't pick beforehand. So if someone else succeeds, if you just have to pick as many of those things as you are able to. So just if Hilarion suffers, that does not mean that this thing will come to pass for Hilarion if someone else wants to stop it. Like these these like swirling visions and like strange tunnels that keep appearing around you, like everyone can see them and see all of these things happening. But you know that one of these tunnels will lead you to the shears. And so, okay, so I think Hilarion is defending then.
Yes.
All right.
What do you guys think?
Everybody else sees. That's it.
No, Mike.
Come on, we can do it.
Can't do it that way.
We can. Well, technically, if we can do it that way, we shouldn't do it that way.
That would be unkind.
It would be
Be
catastrophic.
wrong.
Yeah, that's
It would be wrong.
only if you don't think humanity deserves Prometheus' knowledge. That's
And I don't. So, Matt.
So Moirai is gonna defend. So she gets a say.
And I
Oh,
know.
but if Moirai defends, then she has to decide on stopping Prometheus or saving.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, it depends on how many people stop threats, right?
Right.
But us, there's a part of me that's us. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah. Also, you want to go for the seas.
What do you want to do?
I don't know.
Don't pin this shit on
This
me.
one's
What do you want to do?
I'm Xenon was pro Prometheus camp.
Oh,
So
God. So you're seizing?
what are you doing, Phaedros?
I'm pro Prometheus camp too, but I also recognize that we've had times before where, like, not everybody who tries to defend succeeds.
Right.
So
Or
I feel like,
succeeds. So.
well, not seizing, I feel like has fewer world-ending options than not defending. So I will defend.
So the catastrophes that we are facing in there, Hades is upset that one of
them is Spyridon befalling a terrible fate of just being trapped in this cave, sort of mesmerized by things that could happen, but things that won't.
Right.
And just unable to move forward. And like,
Right.
Spyridon will be trapped, and if he won't die, he'll just be trapped forever.
Right.
Which is bad for Hades, and also just bad for Spyridon, right? Like he doesn't get to go to the underworld. He never finds peace or rest or anything.
And then in another cave, Hilarion is fated to wander. Otherwise, if he returns home, he will bring
ruin.
nothing but strife to his family.
Yep.
And then the other threat, a Titan, teaches man how to be free of the gods.
And maybe Tartarus is broken.
The second one is bad. Second one is bad.
It perhaps we didn't see that.
Maybe Prometheus teaches them how to rebuild something that's even better than Tartarus.
I will, I think in this moment, Xenon, Shadowwise Xenon, we'll leave this to his leader. Leader, do you need further assistance to defend, or do you want one of us to seize and set the stakes? Your hand was forced. If your hand was not forced, what would you have wanted to do?
If my hand was not forced, if my hand was not forced, I would have defended against Prometheus.
Okay.
But we already have two other people defending.
I haven't made a decision yet.
Oh, you haven't? Sorry.
Okay, my apologies.
I dragged you.
Hilarion thinks along the lines of we're all going to win because we're all heroes. In his mind, we have 3 problems and a seize. So we should do 3 defenders, 1 attacker.
Okay.
But he looks at Kelos but What are you going to do?
Oh,
To who?
Macaria.
Macaria, sorry. Macaria.
I will defend.
Xenon.
What would you have me do, Hilarion? Join you in defense and let the fates decide what would happen, or would you like me to go for the shears?
Go for the shears.
Okay.
The three of us will handle these three problems. You will set the stage for the final battle.
All right.
I think that Xenon realized that Xenon's opinions here were maybe too contrary to the group's, and wanted the group's leader to tell Xenon where should my priorities lie, because if I leave it to myself, they may not align with what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
And he has to respect leadership here.
So, we will start with the defend contest. What domain? Maybe let's do any domain, because it's kind of like you guys are doing different things. So, pick how you would like to stop these things. And also, it's all very conceptual threats. Like, there aren't very many physical, like, real threats. It's all, like, very much weird stuff. So just tackle that how you will. Explain to me how you tackle that. Target number is 15. And it is mythic and perilous. Yes. Is anyone calling on any of the gods to help? Or bringing their attention to this?
I mean, it's already mythic and perilous, so would it cost an additional die?
It wouldn't cost any. I wouldn't charge. I'm just going to let you guys, if you call them out beforehand, then that's on the table. But they will have opinions if you don't do well. Is the
then I think that Hilarion would certainly call on Hermes.
Okay.
Can we each call on somebody, or we're just calling on Hermes?
I think it's only been one in the past.
Okay, that's fine. Yep.
So the daring of Hermes. Sorry. Okay. Test your fate. Let's figure out.
And then
what
we
happens.
still need to spend a divine favor to
you need to spend
do
a
the
divine favor.
Okay.
Yep. And if you suffer, you mark pains. This one's so mean. This is like the meanest one yet. Isn't that funny? I feel like this is my fault.
I'm gonna call on a bond of a god.
Okay. What bond?
A bond with Hermes.
Okay.
Oh, great deeds and trophies.
Oh, hey, yeah, that's a thing.
They get added as other dice.
Advantages. Yeah, so D10. I think, yeah. So it'll be like however many D10s for however many of those you use.
Well, I use the desalination and hydroponic food setup that we have to.
It makes some really fresh water.
You said it's a D10.
Yes. Great deeds and trophies are D10. A 22. Okay.
I rolled an 8.
Does that mean she could ruin two things? Because
No.
that's like she went over by like more than 5 like Pathfinder 2E rules.
If she rolled a 30, sure. I'll give it to you.
Shut up.
If you can double the target number.
And Hilarion prevails. Okay. So, the two heroes who prevailed, what consequences are you stopping? I just want to know that first, so we know what Phaedros doesn't stop.
Obviously, Hilarion's.
Right. Okay. So Hilarion's gonna protect his future.
Oh man, this is so tough.
Make the terrible, terrible decision.
Like it is and it isn't.
One
right?
guy
Like,
with a name, or potentially earth-shattering repercussions.
but like Hades is like, isn't Hades like your,
Stepfather.
yeah.
Mhm.
So like
Yeah,
if-
but if like we open the gates to Tartarus,
right?
also probably
Or
more
not.
problematic.
We don't know about the gates to Tartarus.
No,
He's
that's
just saying
that
stuff.
might not
He's
even be
just saying
involved.
stuff.
I'm sure the gods will have no opinions if history has been rewritten to where you release Prometheus, because that's the thing, right? It's not that he's just free; it's that you actively did it. That's the choice you made.
Fair.
So isn't that
Fair,
fun?
fair.
Isn't
Just
that
saying.
fun? I'm not trying to sway you one way or another. I'm just saying these are the realities we're facing.
It's tough.
Can I get the description of the Tartarus one again, or the Prometheus one again?
So I'll just lay it out for you. So basically, what will happen is that a decision you all made will be changed. The decision being that instead of stopping the drill, you used it to free Prometheus, and you don't know what all happens beyond that. You see Prometheus free, but you don't know what else, how else things have changed, because you're not. This is a different past that you don't get to choose, really. Like, it's a different choice than the one you made, but you don't get to choose what that choice was. So this is just some weird like twist of fate, because this like Forgotten Gorge, kind of the way that I'm sort of interpreting. I don't know how it's meant to be interpreted, but I'm sort of interpreting it as like a perversion of fate almost. Is like, because this is just where all of the cast off from the loom goes, and so it's turned into this weird like twisted nest of like strange fates and changes to reality.
Makara is gonna stop Prometheus.
Excellent. So we'll start with Phaedros. Poor Spyridon. You see him humming to himself.
Yes, I think I see him humming to himself. Phaedros is in an unnatural place and calling on unnatural powers to try to help him in this scenario with resolve and spirit. He also, from underneath his cloak, pulls out a small, strange lantern with many lenses that contains a blue flame to try to pierce the illusion here before Spyridon of you don't need to go this path, you shouldn't do this thing. But I think part of it is Spyridon is already mentally latched onto that thing, and part of it is Phaedros is distracted by the Prometheus thing, right? It's like, does that come to pass? Is that a thing? Do we get that? It's that separation of attention means he came up one short.
And then and you
it costs
I think
Spyridon.
Trying to follow Spyridon, you lose your focus for that moment, and you lose track of Spyridon, and you also see something as you're moving. And hear something. That tune that Spyridon was humming is feels strangely familiar. And you can see sort of through one of these tunnels, just very briefly, an island rising out of a sea that looks like clouds. And you see, standing in the distance, singing in this very loud voice, a man dressed that sticks out because he's dressed in black, stark black with raven's wings, coming from sort of this mantelpiece. And the song, the more you hear it, the more you are convinced that you are dying. As you hear its full voice, and then it's gone.
Yeah, of course.
And so mark a pathos because it was perilous. As just
Fine,
even
I got
hearing a
one to spare.
verse, even hearing a verse of this song has for some reason drawn life from you. And you see that there are many threads that connect you in this individual. But for a moment, and then they're gone. All right. So now, Hilarion. How do you close? You see stretched before you in one of these tunnels this fate. How do you close this? How do you make sure this will not come to pass? It doesn't have to make sense. Because none of this makes sense.
So here's like Hilarion called upon Hermes for daring, but more so because of his bond with that god. That he is out here because of him and the promise that Hermes made.
Right.
Contrary to his natural method of doing things, he chose to make this a challenge of resolving spirit. We spend pathos to bring blood and valor in because we're brave through this, but primarily went with resolve and spirit. He remembered he used the D10 that he got as an advantage here because it's important. And he remembered how when he earned the title of he earned the great deed of Sorcerer's Bane by the strength of belief and faith, and he's going to continue with that. He's going to walk through it, and basically he's going to go old school D&D and disbelieve. He's going to just disbelieve the illusion.
Yeah.
That for one thing, he sees the guys that are bringing the fight to him, and they're pansies. He's got that taken. He's not concerned with that fight. This is a paltry version of him and this thing, and he's still handling business. He's got nothing to worry about. He's here doing the work of the gods and fighting battles for them. He's not concerned. And so he shows that faith.
And as you do, you see this path that you walk for but a moment change to another future, one that doesn't scare you, but the one that you expected, the one that you know you deserve. And it seems to lose its power. This strange cavern. And Macaria.
Macaria steps to the cavern where Prometheus is teaching the humans things that they should not know yet, and knowing that this strange future cannot pass, she summons up from the ground, using the whisper of death that she has, these spirits to borrow just for a moment in time, not to keep them. They will be sent back to Hades immediately. But she uses them to scatter the humans and Prometheus for the moment so that she can close this sort of gate and make it just to close it off to the fates and the stars and everything. So that no one can stop her, the spirits go out as she weaves a web to pull in and close this time and space.
And you were able to do so.
Yes, and the speed of Hermes to help the spirits move along, but then also guide those spirits back to the river Styx as they need to be.
Yeah. Easy enough. And so, yeah, everyone who prevailed gets a bond with Hermes, I believe. Is that how we did that right? It was everyone, not just who was best?
I think it was just who's best.
Oh, just who's best. Okay, so Macaria, you get a bond.
We have been doing it so that everyone, because I remember as a young Xenon spending stuff to make things mythic and then not getting it, and everybody
gets
else
the
got
bond.
it.
Okay,
And I was
okay,
like,
that's fair. All right, so everybody gets it. You
Oh.
get to bond with the Hermes because it's mythic.
happened to be
We'll
twice.
say we'll say it. We'll say that. I don't know. I'm
Okay,
not
it's
here.
all good.
We're not here
It's all
for
good.
consistency. We're here for
What
fun.
was the 15? glory?
15, yeah, 15 glory for that one. All right, and so that brings us to Xenon and the Seas. I think we may save our finale contest for next time.
Okay,
And do
it is
finale
getting
and
late.
voyage because it is getting a little late. So let's do this one contest. Let's let Xenon see what he's got, and then if you don't prevail, I can figure out some really nasty finale contest. I got a whole week to think about it.
Sweet. Thanks for all the pressure.
Yeah, no worries. Let's just see what domain would you like to use for this one, Xenon?
I think craft and reason.
Okay.
I
Just a
think
15.
that's a reasonable thing for me to go for.
Just a 15.
15 again.
Mythic and Perilous.
Look at you with your 10s you roll. D10, D10, D10.
4 D10s. Yep, that's what I'm rolling.
You roll enough of those things, one of them is going to come up a 10. That's pretty great. All right. And that is Mythic Perilous. Awesome. Let us spend a divine favor.
Remember, if you don't have any divine favor to mark, you have to mark a fate.
I will not mark a fate. I'm going to do the thing. I feel like Xenon is going to risk. Xenon is going to try and. Hephaestus is here. He's watching this island, and he wants us to fix the forge.
Mm-hmm.
Xenon sees the way that we're going. He sees the direction that the group will inevitably drive towards, and that we are going to do our level best to repair this loom. So I'm going to spend my bond with Hephaestus, and I'm going to call Hephaestus' attention to this moment to say, you brought us here to solve this, and I want you to witness as we take the necessary steps to solve this without calamity visiting our people and this land that you and the gods hold dear. So I'll do my craft and reason. 15. All right. Bringing all the epithets.
No pressure.
No pressure. All on my own. Can't get my bond with anybody. I can spend a pathos to go into agony to earn a fate in order to bring in another die.
Yes.
So that's
you
what
can
I
do
will
all
do.
of those things.
I will do that.
And you just mark another fate if you suffer, so it's fine. Because you're out of pathos.
Yep, which is fine. It gets me to my next dot.
It's pretty nice.
So the spend is not without its benefits. Okay, so okay, get past that, and then for the enchiladas.
Or the chimichangas.
The chimmies.
For the chimneys.
It's
Ooh. I am the apprentice of Hephaestus with hammer. And I will spend that great deed in order to gain a benefit here. An advantage.
Man, Xenon's been on his own a lot this island.
Xenon has been on his own a
Made
lot.
some decisions.
He has done what was needed.
Of course.
And we are going to call upon our bond with Hermes.
Okay.
To make sure that I am guided to these lost shears, that I pick the right tunnel. Because there are many that I could have found that had shears in them, but not the right ones.
That's good. That's good. I like the anticipation we're building.
Do I drop another divine favor? Hold on. 1, 2, 3. I think I have to, right? I mean, like, oh man, we're gonna have so long. Okay, I'm gonna do my divine favor with Poseidon.
Okay.
Fuck me, it's better work.
There we go. There we go. All right.
Ugh.
Poseidon did say "fuck you," though. I just want to put it.
He only gave me
Poseidon
one.
did try to kill you a little bit.
He
Yeah.
only gave me one. He only gave me one.
Everybody gets one.
Yeah, everybody get you. I have to be here for this. Fine, I'll give you a
Fine.
nod, but I'm not getting out of the water.
Yeah. So
You're in a
recite your
cave.
deeds. Recite your deeds. Where do you?
Yeah.
What do you? You don't get the shears, right? Because they're still the finale. But in what
Oh.
place do you find them? And then
Got
how
it.
is that advantageous to you? And then we'll talk a bit more next time about what we want the actual. But like, what do you find? We'll start there. Or maybe you do get the shears, but we still have the finale contest for all the taters. So
Right. Xenon is in this gorge, wandering between the crags and the pits and the caves, and he notes a smell of death, and the smell of death hits you a very specific way. It's something that you just instinctively hate. But in this case, Xenon is drawn to it as, okay, this is interesting, this is notable, that I have not smelt it before. I'm going to seek this out. And as the fortunes would have it, the shears lie broken and embedded into the body of our guy. I'm sorry. The first body of Mr.
Spiritus?
Spyridon, yes. Who's like walking around? I mean, as far as you know, that's his only body at this point. And
Sure.
who
Fair
knows?
enough.
Who knows? This is a weird place.
They are embedded. One blade is in his back, and the other blade lies broken next to it.
Okay.
And Xenon picks it up and thinks he knows how to put it back together.
All right. Very good. All right. That sounds like a good place to pick up next time with our finale contest. And then our voyage phase, our exodus and our voyage phase. And then I think we've only got one island left. We'll see how the Vault of Heaven goes, but I think I could throw you guys a little bit of a curveball for the last one. It'd be fun.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, because I feel like we're there. I feel like we're getting there.
Because you haven't been throwing us anything on this one. Yeah.
Oh no. This has been a cakewalk so far. We haven't even got to the hard islands yet.
Are you serious?
No, these are the hard
Jesus
islands.
I was about to say.
This one's particularly kind of nasty.
It is.
But
Yeah,
it's very
that was
interesting.
Quite the
which is
decision.
why-
Thank you.
Yeah,
It
I
is.
love it. It's one of my few pieces of agency in this game. Is to choose where you all end up.
Mm-hmm. That's
Isn't that
good.
fun?
That's good.
So yeah, I think that's all we've got for tonight. And we get to do the finale and all that kind of stuff next time. So I don't think we have to do any of the like assigning virtues or anything. We can save all that for next time.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all I've got. Hope you all enjoyed.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you. Ethan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody at home, thanks a ton for hanging out with us while we explore this amazing little island, full of this. Okay, to me, this is like what really good role playing is all about: is like making the big decisions and not like, I don't know, like winning a math rock roll is fun. Like who doesn't win? Who doesn't enjoy I throw the math rock and I come up winning? Like that feels good. What I really like is the Now all of this matters and none of it's clear. Like that's good.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good island, man. This is a really
That's a
good
good
island. Cause like, man, what if like nobody? What if Hilarion was the only one who won in the defend, and then Hilarion had to decide: does Prometheus walk the plains, or do I wander? Like, God, that would have been such a good decision point. Wow.
That's what it's all about.
If
He's
only.
good. He's
That's
very
why
good.
we do this.
So good.
Very good. And there's
So
more. There's more very, very fun decisions built into this game. It's all good. So good.
Cannot wait. All right. So folks, I am gonna send us over to good old Cyberwolf. He's playing some Pokemon Coliseum going on right now. We're gonna raid him because he's just a gem of a human being. And I'm gonna start raid on this. We're gonna go over there, we're gonna give him some emojis, but thanks a lot for tuning in for some more Aegon with us. As you've heard from Ethan, we're rounding the bend on this.
Yeah.
We're nearing
2 islands max.
Yeah.
I might have one that's a little easier just in the middle for some fun.
A little more to go. But we're getting there. We're getting there. So yep. Everyone at home, as always, have fun and play well.
May all your rolls be crits.